I hate the idea that I had a riff going. And here's the thing that I used to think before I did a podcast. I used to think if I couldn't find that riff, it's the funniest riff. And now I realize none of them are that good.
It's object A, what that riff was to you. Do you know what that means?
No.
If I have this, everything will be perfect. It's like the, it's the
FOMO.
thing.
FOMO?
No, it's not quite, it's like a
magic
thing
thinking.
Magic thinking.
That's Jen Kirkman, everybody.
Yeah.
She's here to spiral.
We did it. It was like so natural. It was like we've always done the show together. Please, Jen, join us. We're killing ourselves. We can't take one more. We need to add one more and then another one. Then you two franchise it and take it off our hands.
I am honored to be here. This is my, I am one of those people that wakes up Monday morning and listens right away. So now I can't listen next week because it'll be me and I already know what happens.
That's true.
So I'm already spiraling into a depression for next week. And I sympathize with the listener because I hate when my favorite podcasts do anything different. Even if it ends up being good, it's just the different is shocking.
Does that happen a lot?
But
though?
I feel like we're already like over a threshold because you are both friend and listener.
Well, we are, but the listener might be like, I don't want to hear this.
But I think just the fact that we know for a fact that you accept this vibe.
Oh, it's the only vibe I want on earth.
And it's the only vibe that our listeners apparently want. So you're in. Is what I'm saying.
You're right. But it does happen, a lot of podcasts I love, they'll suddenly do a live episode.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And I don't like the energy changes.
In general, I'm beginning to think, because I'm a genius about these podcasts. Have they been around like for 6 months?
At least.
Because I have some insights about them. Someone was saying this on a different podcast. I don't know why I'm yelling or talking weird, but they were saying that they didn't enjoy doing the live. It's called Stuff You Should Know, which I actually enjoy.
Oh, that's a great podcast.
It's great. And they were going, I don't want to do any more live ones. And then I was going, this is who I want to be. These two guys. So I called him up and said, you know what I'm saying? We need more pitter patter.
Well, I can see as a comic, like the desire to do a live podcast because it's like getting free money. You don't have to do your act.
Right.
But then once you're doing it, you're like, oh, the intimacy is gone. And I'm like yelling for some reason instead of just chatting or whatever.
We've never actually made much money doing it, but I think of it more as free energy.
Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean free energy?
I mean, someone else is bringing energy to the table, which means that
that you don't
I
have
will
to.
vampire off that as opposed to my normal,
See, I don't know if that's good necessarily.
I don't know if it is.
Well,
either.
he was upset.
I have to say that we've done 2 or 3, and our audience has shown little to no enthusiasm for it.
That's all actually perfect.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like the audiences are going crazy that stuff, but like it changes the energy of the performer, I think.
Yeah, well,
because
that's what happened. I was like,
true.
I kept looking out. It was just like simple things, like not looking out, like going, oh, I'm doing a show now. Don't look over at this guy. That was the wrong way to go with it.
Now you guys are sitting next to each other. I assume when I'm not here,
You're in the Andy spot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Except when we're spooning homophobic references, really big in the 80s. All of a sudden, late 90s, doesn't sound so good. We don't sit in the same side of the table because he'll be all over me because we're not comfortable with our sexuality, and that's the only way we can talk about it. I think I'm more bisexual than him. Let's go to the listeners.
You know what? I don't doubt that you're not. But I think, if anything, Josh, if he were, would be more comfortable with it. You're the bisexual that's not comfortable with it.
That's true. It's the...
I think you have more of the tendencies and yet uncomfortable. Josh has no tendencies and yet so comfortable with being bisexual.
Yeah, I can cover a lot of secrets with this demeanor.
Well, do you remember he's not dead, but Boris Hamilton, the comedian?
Oh my God, yeah, and you just freaked me out. You said he's not dead.
He's not dead.
So many people I know are dead that I was like, of course he's dead too.
I saw Fred Willard gave me a trend scare.
Yeah, I got a little scared on the drive over. I looked at it
what happened?
On the highway.
He was on
Twitter.
The Bachelor or something.
I was kidding.
But he trended because of it.
Who can remember the person we were talking about before?
Boris Hamilton.
Okay, so he's not gay, but he would be if there's nothing wrong with that. Seinfeld, number 12.
In a perfect world, he'd be gay. Is what you're
That's
saying?
right. No, but we used to make single ads. We would make up single ads because he's kind of grumpy. So it was like Bad News Bear looking for.
Oh yeah, singles ads for a gay guy or a straight guy?
No, single ads for him if he was gay. And he was putting his ads in those days, the thing was what was this? The Graduate?
The Recycler?
The Advocate? What'd you do in the old days?
The Advocate. I don't know. I was never, a gay in the old days or in the new days.
Oh,
Sorry.
I'm the only one who
I'm
read
the bad
singles
guy?
ads on Backpage. Oh, I'm the bad guy.
I'm the bad guy for not being gay back then?
Oh, because I ran one
For
Steam.
writing fiction, like gay singles fan fiction, apparently is what they were doing.
I own a bathhouse for 10 years, and I go to some of the events. All of a sudden,
Somebody wrote to me on Twitter once, if anyone can bring back the gay bathhouse support from female comics like Bette Midler used to do, it's you. It was a very specific compliment, which I loved, but then I felt guilty and not woke enough that I didn't know that part of Bette Midler's story was that she was either somehow supporting gay bathhouses, performing in them.
She was performing. That's how she started her career in New York.
Are you teasing me?
No, she would do her cabaret act in the gay bathhouse.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, can we bring this back? Because I would love to do that.
Would play piano for her.
No.
Yes.
And was he bathing after, do you think?
That I can't attest to.
But he did come out, right? Like
I don't
last
know.
year? He came out at like 70.
I don't want to go on the Manilow limb, but I think, yes, now that you say it.
Oh, I don't want to go there and act like I support it, but I just was reporting the facts.
I don't want to put too fine a point on it, which I never know what that means. But I would like to say that.
Look at Lucky paying attention to me and not you.
Oh, that's all I need. All I need is that he's going to bring that up next week now.
Who, the dog?
No, the fact that the dog was all over. Oh, I get it, Lucky.
He's not gay.
Anybody in that chair could be loved by you.
Oh, he thinks it's the chair.
I don't. I want
that's
more
how he's
love from
playing it.
animals. I'm
That's
like
what
Trump.
he needs. That's
I'm
what
like
he
Trump.
needs right now.
I want
Trump-
the dog to come up and
You
go,
know?
I love you.
And Jen doesn't even like dogs that much, Andy.
I was wondering about this. You're
I'm indifferent.
But I can see you with 12 cats and saying, "Where's Horace?"
Is that a cat or my
Yeah,
dead
it's a
husband?
cat.
Oh,
Or your dead husband.
he's in the closet. The other 11 cats ate him. I do love cats. I don't have any pets. It doesn't work for me, but cats are my preference.
I love the way you say that, like it's like that comes with the form of being alive. Look, I'm glad you all have pets, but it doesn't happen. What if someone leaves?
I don't check that box.
Yes, but what if you have to?
My apartment building doesn't allow specific. There's like an A and B side, and the A side is no animals.
Your condo board?
Well, I don't own it, but it's a condo kind of thing.
I'm on the condo board. I'm not bragging.
are?
A
Not on
side
the
is
board.
no animals. Like,
Yeah.
is it an allergy thing, or is
I think
just
it- well,
grumpy?
probably-
That's the really grumpy side. Of
Are
the
you
building.
allergic? We didn't ask you.
No,
that.
I'm not. But I'm just, I'm. Here's the way I look at it.
First, by the way, he
Yeah.
doesn't have any pets either.
No, I know.
So, okay.
I'm not defensible. I'm not financially free in the sense that I don't have enough money to own something. And I don't want to have to last minute throw possibly thousands of dollars suddenly into an animal.
Yeah, it's very hard.
And I'm not home a lot. I mean, I'm home, but maybe I'm on the road, 70 days a year or something.
Too long.
It's too much. And not all in a row, of course. And then I don't want, I'm not in a mansion, so I don't want, and I do have a second bathroom that's unused, no big deal.
Whoa,
I
stop
take a
the
bath in there.
bragging.
No big
It's
deal.
unbelievable.
But I
The
don't want to put
bathroom dropping is
I don't want to put a
unbelievable.
cat box in there because it's going to change everything.
Diagnosis: no pet for you.
No pet for me. Now, if I get in like a long-term relationship and we get a house, like sure, pets galore.
But
It's
you
just not
use it
for,
as a bargaining chip, though, since you don't care one way or the other.
I do want a cat really badly.
Okay,
I just don't want to care for it myself because I'm really squeamish with death, and I know most people are, but I'm squeamish with poop and anything
I hate
overly
anything
human.
to do with poop.
Yeah,
I hate poop jokes.
and cutting. Oh, me too.
And he bothers. It's not like he overly does it, but he
No, but I know it's
gonna,
I know it's a
he
weapon.
He knows it's going to bother
I
me.
know it's a weapon I can use if necessary.
I think it is just so. I don't like it at all.
I don't like people have whoopee cushion sounds and the thing. Oh, I have it on my phone now, or I can get it on a thing. That's to me.
You know people that have a whoopee cushion app.
No, they have party sounds, and they think it's the
Yeah.
fun. There's a guy who used to run
Well,
Dangerfield.
Leslie Nielsen walked around with the fart thing for
See?
for
You know, I
20
don't like
years.
it.
That brings it down one notch. Leslie Nielsen comes down one notch now.
I feel like if you accidentally fart in front of anyone,
Right.
you should offer to kill yourself. And if they say no,
that's the way
that's
my
true
family.
love.
That's the way my family was raised.
yeah. Well, we weren't raised that way. You know what sucked
Well, we weren't
about
raised either, but that's how it ended up.
Do you know what sucked about my house growing up? We had one bathroom and it was off of the kitchen. What
Wow.
sense does that make? It was a
Wow.
house built in the early 1800s, Massachusetts. And it just like, if someone had a bowel issue right before dinner,
It's East Coast,
that's
too.
it.
But they wanted to be near the hearth if they were.
Oh, you
if they
only
were
had
really
one.
hunkered
You're
down in
only
there.
one
we had
bathroom.
two, but one was off the kitchen because a lot of times they were like I don't want to know what the right word would be. Servant quarters. Well, is it okay to call people servants? It doesn't seem right. Any of those words.
No, I know what you're saying. My house
Keeper,
did not have
a servant.
a servant.
I can't believe you said that. Servants.
Just edit that out
But
and
it was
then put it out.
was it designed to have servants in the early 1800s?
No, there was a one-armed man with a shotgun and a dog, actually, that lived in that house.
Wow.
And I don't know what he did. It was a farm or something.
Name?
So no
Do we have
servants.
a name that you remember?
David Jansen?
I do not. I think it was,
You knew his limb count, but not his name.
well,
which
because
is
we
weird.
found a photo of him in our attic, and we
Okay.
cleaned out the stuff, and we found his diary. And he was, he shoed horses.
Finish the kitchen bathroom.
Get someone to help me
Dear
build
dog.
All
things.
my wives keep leaving me
It's a good day.
right after I take a dump.
We're
No, I
making
made that
fun
up.
of this person
Me
now.
too.
Are they
because he's
can't-
taking giant dumps at dinner, and
That's
it's in
the
the
thing.
kitchen.
And he can't read and
This
wipe at the
turned
same time.
this turned
because
into
he's got the
bathroom
one-
humor.
All we're doing, it's not even bathroom humor. It's two people who are uncomfortable about it, and we can't. And so then we're going to go home and go, yeah. And what did we do? We had 15 minutes of the show where we talked about.
Right, edit
how
it out.
uncomfortable-
Me,
Edit
I
the
was
whole thing
into
out.
the whole
Well, you can't
idea
tell
of
him
the
what to
one-armed
edit out.
pioneer.
He's
That's
the-
that's where I was headed. I like the one-armed pioneer.
He's turned into my mother. Oh, you can't tell him to edit it out.
No.
Your father, my mother's phone will ring and she won't hear it. And I'll go, Mom, your phone's ringing. Well, your father, you can't blame Dad for the fact that you can't hear your cell phone. He did something weird with the ringer. No, he didn't. You just can't hear it. But everything. That's what you just did.
Well, I'm older than both of you combined.
not.
But your mom, how old is your mom?
81.
Are you kidding me?
I am not. They had me at 38.
I knew you don't realize this. I almost called you Jen. You don't realize this. I met Jen. She was 4 or 5 years old. I met her when she first came out here to L.A.
No, do you want to know when
It's
I met
not an
Andy?
it's an exaggeration.
He never
joke.
remembers this.
Yeah.
He was in a leather jacket and he denies it. And so was Susan. And they were like badasses.
Like Sid and Nancy over here.
Yes. So this is when I met them.
A different kind of Sid, but
Sid Croft.
like Sydney. And
You can't tell me I had a good-looking leather jacket on at any point.
It was long enough ago that I'm not like, oh, it was
I'm
good
guessing
looking.
frumpy, but
No, I'm going to be totally honest. I don't think it was. I think it was more like Jay Leno when he was like hot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like have you heard the stories that Sandra Bernhard has told about Jay Leno, right?
No, please tell
Are
me
you
a couple
joking?
of them. No, can you please? Is she about the sex stories?
Yeah.
Oh, I've heard that they had sex, but I didn't hear the details.
This all I remember is a snippet. She told it on Howard Stern.
Have you heard it, right?
no,
okay.
I'm tuned in.
Well, it's like 2 sentences. He pulled up at our house, motorcycle, leather jacket, big dick. That's all. So there you go.
Does that make you?
That's why I love that story.
Now, I don't want to be. Here's something. Now, does that make you more? Now, this is going to be a sexist question.
Yeah.
Does that make you like him more?
No, but
That a person you're repulsed by has a larger
But see,
penis?
I'm not repulsed by him.
Did you leave a
you're
trail
not
of big dick motorcycle stories? I don't think you did.
it just makes me go, wow, there's so many sides to people.
Well, do you think he's kind of sexy? Some people do think he's kind of sexy.
No.
Jay Leno.
But I'm going to actually, okay, so now
I thought he was one of the funniest men in the world until 1990.
No, but we're talking about attractive.
No, I'm not attracted to him, but
Letterman, a lot of the ladies think Letterman's attractive.
I'm more attracted to him than,
But you're too young.
well, I still was attracted to
I
him.
dream of a genie. Who am I doing? Okay, continue.
Okay,
you guys
so
continue.
now there's like 2 things happening. I want to tell my Andy leather jacket story.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I do want to tell you why.
Are you going to remember that?
Yeah.
I'll write it down.
Yeah.
I am going
He'll
to,
write
why
it down.
I'm not personally repulsed by Jay Leno, even though I think I did not like his monologues on The Tonight Show.
Sure.
I believe that he ripped off Howard Stern by doing the man on the street stuff. And then he took Stuttering John and thought that was going to be something just by having him be
Right.
And what he did to David Letterman and Conan stealing The Tonight Show twice. Zero respect on any of those fronts.
Right.
However, in the grand tradition of, they're nice to me. I have
Be a whole show.
I have a he was nice to me story. And
I
I was
love
very,
it.
now as a lady in comedy, thank you. The moment of silence.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
Oh,
that's
yeah, yeah.
I wanted one. As a lady in comedy, it was harder to get on late night shows, although I did get on
Of
some.
course.
So I get on Leno this is funny, as a Matt Lauer was coming on before we knew he was a rapist.
What? Was that good? The guy who hasn't been
And
around.
Andy's saying what? Because he doesn't believe the stories that came out, not because he doesn't know them.
It's bullshit.
Exactly.
It's bullshit.
Just,
Look, I also lock doors when people come in and have it operated from a desk. Oh, I'm the bad guy?
and he certainly locks them immediately after they leave.
You can't come in here for more on
Do you
wanted
know the
sex.
expression, Andy will ice cream you?
No.
Okay. Let me tell her what ice creaming is.
We've adopted it now. It's blowing someone off, essentially.
Why is it ice cream?
Because I ran into Andy at the pavilions at the grocery store nearby in the parking lot, and it's like, "Hey, Andy, how you doing?" I can't talk. I have ice cream.
I remember. Did I hear this on the show?
Yes,
Did he really do that to you?
He really did. Yes.
Because it was melting.
It's because I'm uncomfortable. He's the closest person. He's the only person I've been close friends with since my imaginary friend Hitler.
Since the guy who rejected him after college.
Yeah, the guy Stewie Lerman, if he's out there. Can I say his name?
Sure.
Stewie Lerman. I still agonize until I got into therapy and realized that you should look into that. But it's like, why wouldn't he be my friend?
Was he not your friend, Stewie Lerman?
Not like I wanted him. I wanted him to think I was the coolest guy, and I think
I bought a leather jacket and everything.
Do you have confirmation that he did not think this?
I also have his number memorized from 1977. No. I know. I never asked him.
Yeah.
Asking him would not have helped. Let me ask you a question. I wouldn't have asked him as Leno. Yeah, something.
But I think it's okay to remember, because I just remembered my best friend's phone number from childhood, 617-444-1648. Because that was what we did back then.
The
no,
7 people listened.
Her parents aren't there anymore, and she's still my really close friend, unlike you and Stewie, so I'm sorry.
I know, but I would be...
My friend Craig was 544-1936.
But
That's a good number.
Were you guys ever rejected?
546-1161.
Were you ever rejected by friends? This was like a big...
I was rejected by boys I liked, not friends, though, I don't think. But, I've been rejected a lot.
My parents...
I've definitely had those things where it's like, okay, I'm calling, they're not calling.
Yeah.
Maybe I should stop calling.
Well, I didn't realize that.
Wow.
I just kept going over it in my mind. What did I do? What could I have done differently? That he would still look like he did and play guitar like he did. There's got to be some romantic side to it. But not really. I wanted to be his best friend.
Maybe you wanted to be him a little bit.
That's exactly it. Because he was cool. He could play guitar better than me.
Oh.
Right.
That's cool
and
shit.
You also rejected yourself.
That's true. We've learned that on the podcast. That I hated my own voice. And that's the big breakthrough from therapy.
Would you know it's another good breakthrough for anyone listening? I know you guys are in happy, healthy marriages, but anyone out there who gets rejected by someone and you keep digging yourself in, you know what I mean? You won't get over it and you feel abandoned by that person. Well, the more you don't get over it and wallow, you're abandoning yourself.
Whoa.
Mic drop.
Mic drop? Who is that guy? I heard about that guy.
Yeah, mic drop. He's great.
Did you come to that to yourself?
I wouldn't want to follow him.
No, that was just like a therapy thing. It was just
You've been in therapy for a while, right?
Yeah, and just over the years, I actually think I just heard someone else say it to do with therapy. They were talking about themselves, and I was like, oh my God, that's brilliant. Anyway, here's my Jay Leno. So Matt Lauer.
Oh, I'm so glad you remembered Andy Leather Jacket.
Before Matt Lauer was outed as a rapist.
What?
There was a situation where he sort of, I think, Ann Curry got fired and he had kind of railroaded her. I don't remember.
I remember that.
He wasn't supportive.
Yeah, it was about 5-6 years ago.
When Savannah came on, right?
I don't know.
Oh,
I thought it
man.
was when Savannah got through.
What would you know about the Today
I
Show?
think, someone
I read the book
sunnier
about
came
it.
on.
I read the book, unfortunately, about it. Go ahead.
So he's on the show, and the conceit was we need a comedian to come on and do panel to clean up any kind of uncomfortable mess, because Matt was coming on to sort of apologize.
Oh, my God.
Or to re-up his image or whatever.
Right, okay.
Now, meanwhile, the guy's a secret rapist, charming as all hell, just kills it out there. They don't need a comedian coming in. In fact, if anything, I made it worse because people were like, we were having fun with Matt. Now you're here, But long
Now
story
you look
short,
clearly afraid to sit by him.
Yeah.
Well, the night before I was on The Tonight Show, my friend Ross Matthews, who had been an intern on Jay Leno,
Oh, yeah.
he'd written a book, and Jay was always kind of a mentor to him, so Jay was at the book party. Now, I don't assume that Jay knows me, that I'm the guest on tomorrow's show, like most talk show hosts don't know those details that far in advance. So he came up to me and was like, hey, Dan Cookman. And I was like, what? And he's like, I was just reading your book today. And he was doing research. And I was like, that is
Pretty
so
cool.
kind.
Yes.
And we're both from Massachusetts and our families are kind of from the same town. And he was like F-bomb this, like, fuck this, fuck that. Those ignorant Republican assholes, like, just going off about.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
And he was like, these ignorant, but they'd never seen a gay person. My uncles went to West Hollywood and saw two guys holding hands. They'd be shot. I was like, I can't deal with these idiots. And Mavis, she's just like you. She doesn't want kids. We give all our money to feminist causes. Like, I think this whole thing that I don't use my Tonight Show money, like, I think back then that was a cool sounding talking point.
Right.
And now in the era of like, we want things a little more equal.
Yes. Yeah.
We don't want to hear that someone's hoarding their money, but I truly think he was giving it to like feminist causes with Mavis, because that's kind of what he said.
I think he's true.
Oh, is that true?
I know that he does, but I don't.
Yeah.
I do think I feel he could be more conservative, just point of view wise.
I don't know. He was liberaling it up with me.
I think he's a blue collar liberal dude.
Probably.
Yeah.
I really think he's.
Then I get to the
I have enough reasons not to like him. I don't have to add
exactly. I don't like him for all the same
that. I
reasons
don't
you
like him anymore because I'm working it.
But I also think, I never thought the rap on him was that I worked at NBC when he was there. I was working on Kinnear's show, and, I saw him all the time, and it was very clear he took the gig very seriously. And that's kind of the rap against him, is that he took an incredibly corporate approach.
Yes.
To being the talk show host.
And he really did put so many people out of business.
Oh, well, his manager was so. Are you talking about Leno?
Helen.
About
Kushner.
Leno, but
yeah,
when
he knew what his manager was doing. It was the worst stuff in the world.
But with the Conan stuff, when he went around to each individual affiliate of networks, you know what I mean? Like, he would go to like the local Boston affiliate and be like, so you're running like an ER type show at 10 p.m. But what if I came on and did a monologue? They're like, totally. So he put all these scripted shows out of business, in a way. So he was bad. But for me, when I came and did the show the next day, he came into my dressing room and was like, what clubs are you doing? And not condescending and all, like, why are you still doing clubs? Really cool. And then he was telling me stories about like Vegas in the 50s. And I said, I've always thought I could have been that one woman that broke through that was like with the Rat Pack. And he goes, they would have raped you. He goes, don't idealize back then. It's so much better for women now. And I just thought they would have raped you was like kind of the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely.
It does make sense.
Yeah.
I think that he pulled the wool over your eyes. I'll tell you that right now. Woo!
But the one thing he didn't say was this guy in the dressing room next door, he would have raped you. We didn't know. Not loud.
Right. But the other thing is that Jay Leno, because I know my friend Diana Nichols, who's a very funny stand-up comic, she used to say he's so mean. But he doesn't. No. In a funny way. But he never shows that. Like, he's really
cool.
viciously
He's comic mean.
Yeah, he's comic mean about other comics.
Louis Anderson was like that too. He had this amazing public sweetness, but he was like the acidiest guy I had ever met.
They're like reverse Don
But
Rickles.
he doesn't want to show that. Just like Ellen didn't want to show that it was so important to her to be nice.
Right.
Yeah.
That I know she's your favorite performer now, but I feel she's a little vanilla. She makes vanilla look like ice milk.
Now, why would you say my
She
private...
makes ice milk look like vanilla. Jambalaya. I don't know anything I'm doing. He just coaches me.
All right, so here's the story about you.
You don't have to slow down anything.
I do. 1998, Montreal Comedy Festival, State of the Industry. This is how long ago is 1998? 22?
21 years.
22 years. I'm 1 year into comedy, and I'm performing with Eugene Merman and Patrick Burley every weekend in Boston, and Eugene has this newspaper that's like an Onion ripoff called The Weekly Week, and it's just local in Cambridge. And it was fantastic. It was like funny articles and like interviews with comedians. He got a press pass to Montreal.
I remember this for sure.
And he gave me one. And then we went up there, and I'd never been, obviously, and I get to go to the Andy Kindler State of the Union. I'm a year into comedy, and I've got this fake press pass. Like, it was so exciting.
Oh, and it was a good year.
Oh, it was incredible. And then
It's back when it mattered.
Was it show number one or show number two?
You know, it kind of was in that sense that there was still only a few networks, and it was all about like the new sitcoms. And
It was early on. That was the third year. Or the fourth
wow.
year.
Oh, wow.
I think it started in 96.
This is 25 this year, right?
yeah, so I saw like the second year.
Why are you?
I'm asking you.
But it's because of the dementia, right? I do have early dementia. I'm not telling everybody.
It's the only thing early about him.
It's the only thing anyone would believe. Like, oh, I can see that. He's like, I'm kidding. Oh,
His dementia shows up 5 minutes before him.
thank you.
Oh, sorry. 65 degrees downtown Los Angeles. Come to the half hour, give away some Aerosmith tickets.
So you come off the stage, and there's no really backstage, but you're in the hallway after. And I swear to God, in my head, you're wearing a leather jacket. Or Susan is, but you were both so kind. There was none of that like, oh, you're just starting out, whatever. It was like Eugene and I introduced ourselves. You just took us seriously as people, blah, blah. That's all I remember. But then when I met you later in LA,
that's when the attitude came out.
Yes. He goes, who? What? But then I realized I didn't know it was early onset. I thought he had an attitude.
Right.
No, but I said you had a leather jacket. And he goes, I've never owned one in my life. But then tonight he's like, oh, maybe I had a leather jacket.
I had
no, he's loosened up a little bit. He's loosened up a little bit on the disagreeing.
A leather jacket. This is July in the summer.
I'm embarrassed
in
because
Montreal.
it was when I was acting like Bill Hicks for like 3 years.
I didn't know enough about Bill Hicks to even know you might have been imitating him.
I wasn't doing that, but there were
I assure you he didn't get close enough for you to know that he was doing Bill Hicks.
Yeah.
Do you know, can I say something horrible that you might hate?
Yeah.
Do you know who you're so similar to, but I don't mean that you ripped him off?
Let me see. Can I guess it? You think Richard Lewis? Paul Reiser?
Sure. I'll give you a big hint.
Give me a clue.
We were just talking about him for 20 minutes.
Jay Leno.
I saw this old clip of him.
I like this line.
She's not going to make this work.
I saw an old clip of him on Letterman with the TV guide, and he was doing like...
What's my beef?
He was doing like a rundown of how dumb all the new sitcoms were.
Well, that's what's ironic is that he did his best work.
He was like you.
He did his best work on the Letterman show.
I know.
And he didn't even have any aptitude for being a host. And the other thing was like, he knows nothing about sports. Because my friend Diane used to go, yeah, who's winning the game? The lemons are winning or the grapes are winning? He knows nothing about music either. You can't.
That always weirds me out.
I mean, you kind of. It's like what, and he doesn't even like talking about cars that much when he talks about it.
Then what does he like?
Jokes and porn, I think.
Porn? Where did that come from?
Oh, we've heard some things, but that was a long time ago.
Come on, tell me.
I told you that story.
I heard that him and I'll say it. What are they going to do? Sue me? I heard him and the man comics would sit around and watch porn up at Jay's house
together.
Yes, that's what I heard.
Why would you do that?
It sounds terrible.
Here's how I can corroborate that.
Okay, but can you rationalize it?
Porn like death is a lonely, solitudinal experience.
It sounds terrible to me.
Should not be with people. Anyway.
It should not be with people. Once, it's like strip clubs. They're sad.
Yeah.
So when I was 20. And, maybe 19. Cesario flew me out here. Do you know Jeff Cesario?
I know of him. I do not know him personally.
So I was 19.
Wink. I'll tell you that story later. Kidding. Go on.
I'd been doing stand-up for, 4 years at that point. So he flies me out here to write this special with him, but like a holiday thing. And then he was taking me around to the clubs at night. And then we went to the Improv one night. And then afterwards we went to Leno's house, which, was a big goddamn deal to me at 19.
Oh my God, of course.
And, I had just written a joke for Dennis Miller on the Emmys.
You told me the joke before, but what was it?
The joke, it takes a lot of backstory because it was about Sean. You remember Sean Young showed up dressed as Catwoman at Tim Burton's office trying to get cast 25 years ago.
No, I do remember
that.
She's what, 3 years younger than me?
Yes, but you know how like sometimes at a certain age you're not looking at like
that situation.
You're not looking at media for some reason. Yeah.
So he was hosted. So Sean Young showed up dressed as Catwoman at Tim Burton's office trying to get the role. Didn't work.
Yeah.
But it made her a laughingstock for a little bit. And Dennis Miller was hosting with Jamie Lee Curtis and Seinfeld, I think. But he was doing the opening monologue, and the joke he bought was, so we almost didn't get started on time. Sean Young showed up dressed like an Emmy and tried to beat the hell out of Jamie Lee.
It's a perfect joke.
It is a great joke. Jamie Lee.
So we go to Leno's house, and Cesario introduces me with, he just wrote a joke for a thing. So it was just like a great red carpet for me to go,
Totally.
What joke? Oh, that's a great joke. You told him the joke?
I did, of course.
Of course.
Or no, I think he just said, he wrote the Emmy joke or the Sean Young joke, because they had watched it. And they were watching this. There was like a 48 Hours had done a special about road comedy.
Oh, wow.
And it was on that night. So all these guys, all his writer guys.
That's like, for anyone listening, that's I know now it's like every 5 minutes something's about comedy, but never was anything about
It
comedy.
was the first comedy boom. It
Yeah.
was, it was.
Oh, right, true, yeah.
Probably 90 or 91. And so they were watching this thing on his giant wall-sized TV. It was a movie screen-sized TV. And every time he would stop the VCR, porn would come up.
Like it was
That
like
was the default, maybe.
Yeah, I think it was, back in those days, you'd have satellite channels.
So that doesn't. So now that sounds normal.
So I think it was probably set to the channel.
got it, but so that implies
still.
that there was this porn night.
Well, that's the evidence I can provide. I didn't stay for porn night.
I don't because I guess I just don't understand why you watch it.
There's no
Because you
reason
can't
to. I
jerk
think it's.
off
No, but I
with
don't
other
even.
people.
That's
I mean,
why.
you could.
But you can say nasty, misogynistic things with other guys.
I guess
I
so.
can't believe it.
I
I
don't
can't
get
believe
that you
anyone
wouldn't
would
get a
stay.
boner and just not be tortured.
Yeah, I'm going to find out more about it. But
Yeah, please look
a
into
guy
this.
did that to me once when I was a bartender. He goes, "We're going to go. I'm going to. You want to go out for the night? I'm going to pick you up." And he took me to strip bars. It was just so awful.
That and like I get a little more at least because I mean sort of like you're drinking. I don't know. It's like an activity. It's like a show.
But you have to be drunk and you have to be leery.
Yeah. But then there was like, you always hear like, oh, Times Square used to be gritty and people would just go see porn
Yes.
movies
Yeah.
like a movie.
Oh, those were good movies.
That,
But still, they didn't.
get.
They didn't sit next to each other.
yes.
They weren't crowded theaters. There was plenty. They were spaced out.
Right.
So I said, Josh, that's not my hand. He goes, that's not my popcorn. Beep, 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 ba-doop, 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 bing, bang, boom.
You would have been great for those days.
Oh,
because you could have done all your like homophobia jokes. You would have killed it
I
on
would have
those
been
porn
so.
night.
You
Yeah,
would
this
have
guy's looking at
finally-
me. This,
And in your time.
Move that armrest. That's not my arm. What?
those earrings don't go with your dress. I mean, that's the thing that's amazing is the things that were so horrible before trans people, and you would say things like, oh, and I didn't even know what they meant when I was a kid. Nice to
Yeah.
see you back in men's clothes. I mean, I was like 18 by the time
Was
I
that
figured
just like
out-
an expression?
It was your,
You were doing
you're looking at an
Catskills.
audience member, right? Hey, nice to see you back in
I
men's
see.
clothes. So you're telling this person, oh, you're a cross, you're a whatever, you're a
Yeah.
trans person.
Right, right.
I love those comics who don't refuse. Look, I call them trannies. That's what I call them.
It's like, unless you're in the fashion industry and you're a 65-year-old gay guy who do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it
I
has
get when
to-
other minorities won't give up a word. It's still not great, but I'm like, I get it. It never
You're
came
grandfathered
from,
in, sort of.
You're kind of grandfathered in, and I guess I can hear someone listening now. No, gay had more privilege than trans, and it's a way of,
Right.
I get it. No, I get it.
Well,
but
it's like saying queer. It's like going, well, what? It used to be queer was a bad word. Yeah, because you can say it in a way where it was bad.
And finally, the people that were offended by it
Rescued the
have a
word.
voice.
They
It's not that
saved it.
nobody was offended. We didn't fucking know.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I know everyone knows this. I'm not
No, but
breaking.
that was my favorite joke I wrote for your speech this past year.
What did I just copy that by accident?
No, but it was
Probably
it's the same thought. It's it wasn't the people who defend their political incorrectness, and it's not like people weren't are suddenly offended. It's they can suddenly fucking tell you.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
yeah.
I probably did. Well, I don't know if I got that from you, but I do remember you saying that.
Well, you are
Same thought theater.
Same thought theater.
Well,
What?
Great lines snort alike.
Yep.
I
You
love
were
my
going to say
wordplay.
I'm very transphobic. Can we stop bringing this up?
Look,
Just the way I am.
look. I was reading about.
I can't help what gives me the heebie-jeebies.
You're a man, you're a woman, which is it? Now they're a they. I thought you wanted to be a man. Yeah, I knew when you'd be a they. I can't keep up.
Well, I heard this trans person online talking about something that you would say, but even when you think of this, you go, it's crazy, like that a man would take home someone that he thought was a woman and that he thinks, and then he finds out that the person has a penis.
Yeah.
And so he thinks that's like being raped. Do you know what I mean? It's like when they explain it, it's like when the complaints are never about the other way, where someone's going to be wants to be a man, and as a woman who wants to be a man. There's
Right.
never, and no one's ever scared of those things, but they're scared that everybody.
Right.
Yeah, because he had a penis that he didn't tell me he had a penis.
Yeah.
Then I'm right by thinking, oh, what gives here?
What's so funny is men are terrified of penises, right? And they don't understand that so are women, and they give us so much shit. For, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
I'm one of the good guys. Don't be afraid to, don't cross the street. It's like, we're all terrified of being raped by you. And so are you assholes terrified of being raped by the
No, but men aren't terrified of being raped. Men are terrified of either admitting or being accused of being gay.
Oh, that's like, rape is like a...
Yeah, it's not
we don't even go that far.
No,
it never gets
men
there.
are not afraid of being raped. Men are afraid of being scarlet lettered in some way.
But wouldn't that
there's
tie
plenty
in?
of transsexual prostitutes who make their living off of guys who are trying to deny that
100%.
part of themselves, you know.
Did you see first season of Pose?
No, I don't even know what that is.
It's a show on FX. It's an hour long, and it's based on that Paris is Burning, that documentary.
Okay.
So it's like the TV version of like, you know, the balls, like Vogue and all that stuff. And it's all real trans actors, and it's really great. I liked season 1 a little better than season 2, but there's a whole subplot. It's like the 80s in New York, and there's this trans woman, and she's a prostitute, and she has a regular paying customer who's a white guy who works for Donald Trump. You know, it's real, you know what I mean?
Right.
Trump's not in it, and he's in love with her, but she has penis. But anyway, it's the whole thing. But it was fascinating. And kind of felt sad, like you wanted them to be together.
I'm really gotten into, because I got in the middle of this thing, because I have a lot of friends who are trans people online and stuff like that. But this guy who's from England, he was, I know that's terrible the way she said that, like those women splaining. But this guy from England, there's a whole thing now where these people, they think they're saying they're trans, but they're not really trans, and they have to prove, you know, because the big fear is that they're gonna say that they're women, and then they're gonna go into and rape somebody in a bathroom like that. So the point is, when they say what people are scared of, no one is scared. There's no one ever says on a thing, I'm scared of a man who goes into a woman's room.
A man who's transitioned to a woman has a vagina.
It doesn't exist.
No.
They're not, so what?
No, but what they do is they always make up
homophobic.
the imaginary predator.
That's what it's based on.
Who has made their life so difficult just so they can go into the wrong bathroom.
Right, exactly.
So I'm very, very much, I hate, so I got, had a falling out with this guy who wrote Father Ted or something.
I think I know who you're talking about. I've seen him around on Twitter.
And I go back to his Twitter page now.
Yeah.
He's still obsessed with these things. They keep claiming that they're these women, that these people are faking it, and they're going to take the women's rights money. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know what you're saying.
It's like, to me, it's like, why just leave people alone? Why would that ever be something you'd be upset
It's like
about?
it's like the people that are concerned with the 1% of women that lie about being raped. Like, yes, I'm sure that
it happens, and if it happens, right.
But what, this is your obsession? I know exactly what you're talking about. It is fun. I have people that I no longer follow, even have blocked, but every once in a while I peek just to see, are they still acting crazy? And they are.
Well, that's what I couldn't believe. It was like a year since I stopped. I muted him, and I come back, and he's like, he's still obsessed with the same.
It's like that. It's like the gag where the person puts down the phone when the person's ranting, and they come back 5 weeks. And
it's like,
those were the days when they had the phones like that. Anyway, I'm very upset about. I'm very scared to be misconstrued, because a lot of times I'm saying something totally right, but I'm so inarticulate in certain ways.
Yeah.
And then I can look at the people, and even if you're not giving me a look, I'm thinking, do they think that I'm saying this? And then I bend over to a pretzel.
Please, people, just know Andy is virtue signaling. So he's good.
I'm virtue signaling.
Well,
I'm a neoliberal.
Well, me too. I'm a corporatist. I heard.
If I don't have the same views if I believe in free trade, if it works, it makes me a neoliberal.
Well, I'm a murderer who wants people to not have health care. I don't know if you knew that. I don't know if when you guys invited me on the show, you knew that. I'm a neoliberal.
You've been really harassed, though. See, I know now that I was harassed by Russian bots.
Yeah, I found out I was too. I was trending one night, and it was like I was in New York. I was living in New York last year, like not living, but like staying there for work. And I woke up at 5 a.m. to pee, and I happened to check Twitter, and I was trending. Like, that's not normal.
Oh, wow.
And
what was it for?
It was for, I don't even want to say it, but it was political stuff.
Oh, was it that whole time where everyone took you the wrong way, and even that Linda Sarsour?
No.
You were being sarcastic because people kept coming back at you.
Yeah, maybe it was something, but it was to do with a very popular politician. Who's still running for president, and wearing oven mitts.
I'll tell you one thing. It's not about anybody we know.
Wait a second. that could be seen as, I'm sorry.
So anyway, so long story short, but
Totally
the whole thing was I noticed I was trending at a weird time. It was like 4 or 5 a.m. East Coast time. And I was like, what time is this actually? And it's like lunchtime in Macedonia. Like it was all bots, you know, but like real people were falling for it, but it was a bot.
A bot attack.
It was a bot thing.
But
yeah.
You're great on I mean, to me, I love what you do because
I don't do anything political anymore. Nothing.
No. But see, I relate to you because my whole thing was I had to get off of Twitter, and I still have problems. But I can relate to you.
I actually saw you pull an Andy pretty good the other night when somebody complimented your jacket, and you went.
I read it wrong.
Yes.
But no,
and then I deleted it 1 second later.
I read it wrong.
But I saw it happen.
When I read it wrong, that's the most embarrassing thing in the world.
But the thing is, I'm filtering it through the filter of a woman. Like, I'm so often at the mercy of men's opinions on my looks, good or bad. And I'm like, I don't care what you think about my orange coat. And this guy said, never not wear that coat. And I thought he said, never wear that coat. But you know why I freaked out? Because one night during the last election, I had done a show and I was in a parking garage. I think it was like Uncabaret or something. And I'm not implying that this was one of the audience members because I don't think it was. But this guy recognized me and he chased me down into the parking garage. Like he said, hey, is that a real fur coat? And I thought it was, you know, men don't normally notice fashion. So I kind of just thought he was like a fun guy that was into fashion. So I go, absolutely. I mean, it was true. It wasn't. I said, absolutely not. It's faux and it's fabulous. Like just now we're, you know,
right.
And he goes, so you just want to look like you abuse animals and like you're a corporate elite, whatever. And I go,
he nailed you.
He nailed it. How'd he get me? I was like, he's a psychic. He gave me his card. But it's like, he doesn't even get the like 1970s Led Zeppelin groupie. Like, you don't even know what you're saying. Like,
you can't make that argument. That's the worst
nobody
argument.
in fake fur looks elite. You look like a prostitute. It's a Courtney Love. It's a Led Zeppelin.
It was
you know
orange. It was orange.
But it wasn't, you know, this was a fabulous white coat. But anyway, so he chased me into a parking garage. And I said, so you're a liberal. Are you a vegan? Whatever. I'm like, well, I'm a vegetarian. I go, I really relate. I don't agree with you that it's wrong to wear fake fur. And I said, but if you're a liberal, then one of the things you must know about being a liberal, I'm sure you consider yourself a feminist. He's like, I am. I go, well, you just chased me into a parking garage. So like, that's not really like an ally. Actually goes, well, I'm one of the good ones. And I go, but that's not what women don't hear. Those women go, oh, okay, let's go into a dark alley together. That like, he wouldn't let up. And
Did he say that? Like he started to up the ante, like pretending.
No, I'm saying I said to him.
Gotcha, yeah.
So then I got in the car and I like basically must have to run him over to get out of there. And then when I drove off, he screamed, I'm a feminist, you C-word. I voted for Schmurny Flanders.
That was the Golden State Killer as far as I'm concerned.
But I run into those guys in real life all the time. And so I'm on a hair trigger online. So if someone says something about my coat, I really assumed from that past trauma that it was one of these people that would call me neoliberal, corporate shill, coming at me for whatever.
No, had he not put in the double negative, it would have been a shitty thing to say.
It would have, but once I realized it was a compliment, I deleted.
Never
I felt bad.
Wear that crap.
But you know what? You're right. It is hair trigger. But even if he was insulting me, and I wrote back, I still would have deleted it 10 minutes later. Like I get it out, and then I'm like, Jen, you cannot do this anymore. You're gonna get. But it really is from. Not just online. It really is like follows me around in real life.
Yeah.
But I do relate to what you're saying about like, I'm not very articulate and I have a podcast where I just talk by myself. And I think I heard you saying, or maybe it was another podcast.
That's a hard thing to do.
Where they were like, it's maybe not the safest idea. You don't have anyone to check you.
Yeah.
And so I was.
What do you mean, check you?
Well, like, let's just say you were saying one of your inarticulate things on behalf of trans people.
You were doing the Andy Kindler show.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he would be like, well, just so everyone understands, Andy meant, you know. So I said the word Eskimo on my podcast, and something about it sounded old fashioned to me. And I thought to myself, I bet this isn't a word we say anymore. And so I started imitating, like, I find on Twitter, anytime I get called like racist, transphobic, it's by white straight people. Like,
right.
You know, if you say anything, like, it's always like people that are like overcorrecting.
Yes. A
and
lot.
You're never really offending the people in the group.
Because really oppressed people can sense intent.
And I think they have better things to do, to be honest. And so I said Eskimo, and then I imitated what I thought was a white person on Twitter. I went, don't say that. I'm offended. Like, can't, you know, and then I went, anyway, and someone wrote me and they're like, I'm indigenous, or I can't say it correctly.
First people. Or...
It was like Intuit. I'm making it worse. Inuit. Sorry. Intuit. Inuit. It's late. I never say this late. So then,
she said, I'm into it. And you said, well, I'm into it.
And that's how it was.
And so she said,
easy, Coaches.
Yeah, she was like, why did you do that thing where you were like, it's not offensive? And I was like, no, I was doing the white woman because I was by myself. Anyway, the point is, I was very like, oh God, what else have I said that's going to be misinterpreted?
This is like total heaven for me. I swear to God.
OCD theater.
I cannot, you to me are the, I don't know if the right word is master or the mistress. You are the king, queen of being in the moment. There's nobody as good as you in the entire world.
That's insane.
I'm telling you, you're the best.
I think I learned it from you.
But did you notice how uncomfortable I look while I'm doing it? No, I have
on
no
stage. No,
you have much more courage. You have the most courage of any comic I've ever seen.
I think courage is feeling fear and doing it anyway. The absence of fear is sociopath.
Right.
Yes.
And that's what I am.
That's what Trump is. Trump occasionally.
That's what you are, as you said?
Well, not a sociopath, but maybe a delusional weirdo or some damaged or something. I don't know. I'm not afraid on stage. So,
that's unbelievable.
But that's not a virtue.
Do you not go through bad times on stage?
Oh, always.
Oh, well, that's okay. That makes more sense because I think maybe you're not scared, but you have to.
I mean, the question is are there stakes afterwards? Does bad set send you in a bad place, or is it kind of a day at the office?
And I do get scared, like, sorry to bring up the woman thing again, but if it's like Dallas, 11 p.m. show, I'm like, I already know. Like, nobody likes the comic anyway. Then add the layer of woman. Like, there's that extra, like, I swear I'm funny. You know what I mean? Like, just, so I get a feeling of dread sometimes, but never scared. But then if people, like, I freaked out in Sacramento a couple weeks ago, and it was, I swear to God, it was about nothing. But this woman kept going, "Aw," and I wasn't even saying anything sad. And I just went, "You're fucking ruining the show." And it was a late show, and I went off. I was like, how many people here are actual fans of mine?
I had someone in San Diego doing that, like front row.
It's worse than You're Not Funny.
Yeah.
I just went, because this is what starts to happen. Talk about thought spiral. I go, this doesn't happen in a Broadway theater. I'm not successful. I've been doing this 25 years. I wanted to do storytelling. Why aren't I Mike Birbiglia? I'm not in a theater. I'm still doing late shows. I wasn't doing late shows 2 years ago, but now I'm less successful. What's happening? I start spinning out like, I shouldn't have to hear any noise from anyone. Okay. And so that's where it goes. And then I told her she's not classy, she's not sophisticated, and she's ruining the show. And then I was like, but this is how awesome things are now. Like, I got off stage and said to the club owners, like, there was never a world where I could even play clubs or get, and you know what I mean? Like, as a lady, like, starting out, like, I just never thought I'd ever be allowed to headline clubs without being, like, famous. You know what I mean? Like, it just was so hard for me to get booked at clubs. I was always told, like, we have enough women,
Well, what a complex you have. No, I'm kidding.
So I said to the owners, like, I'm really sorry I yelled at an audience member and, like, made it weird. And they're like, I don't fucking care. And I was like, so this doesn't, like, go strike against me? And they're like, no, you're great. I don't care. I was like,
all the best comics are psychos.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like, there wasn't, in other words, I feel like there would have been a time when, like, that wouldn't have been okay.
They would have put bitch on your file.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that I can vouch for that you can't, it's like, I know you like someone would know a little kid. You know what I mean? I mean, you weren't that young, but the point was, I saw you struggle when you started, and you were
Edit this out.
No,
I would see you struggle, but even the first time I saw you, I was like, you reminded me a little bit of not style wise, but like Mary Lynn was also someone who would like, I'm going to say what I want to talk about.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make it. And so I saw it progress over the years.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, to me, it's not like it's like amazing, but you're in a business that's so anti-woman, and it's so there's so many strikes already, you know, and so anyway, you're a hero.
That's really sweet. It's funny too, because I think again, like, I remember hearing Michael Ian Black talk about this on a podcast once. I literally never got up there going, I know this might not appeal to everybody, but here I go. I literally was like, I'm saying the most normal things that everyone agrees with. Here we go. And I've always, and people be like, what are you doing? I've always had that. Like, I went to school as a little kid, like dressed like Mozart with no change of clothes. I've talked about this before. It's like, I'm not trying to do like a patented bit, but like, I just thought, who wouldn't love this? Because the movie Amadeus had just come out, and we had talent show day at school, and I took piano lessons, and I was playing like a Mozart concerto, and I was like, oh, I'll just add an extra layer to it. And I would run it by my mom, and she was like, great, sounds good. And I went to school with like a powdered wig, and like my mom literally put baby powder in the wig, so it was like dusty, and I wore like a Mozart outfit. And people were like, what are you doing? And I was like, didn't know this wouldn't be weird at all. I'm 10 years old, 1985. Like, was shocked that I wasn't carried out of the school on people's shoulders. So I'm still that way. We're like, it's not brave.
Well, no, but but it kind of is still, because I mean, as another comic, you watch it and you go, I mean, the thing that you try to get to as a comic is being able to match up your agenda of what you want to talk about with the places you have punchlines. You know what I mean? Oh,
yeah. Well, that's really hard.
Because like a lot of the time you'll write an hour, but you've kept all the stuff that works, and it's not quite matching up with what you actually set out to talk about. And I always sense your stuff is very much your agenda. Not to say that it's joke light, but I feel like you are talking about what you want to talk about on stage.
Kind of.
A lot of the time, at least.
I do feel like I'm cutting out like 50% of what I really want to say, or the way I really want to say it.
How come?
Because it won't work.
Yeah, because it won't work, or I don't have the punchlines for it yet, or maybe it would be better as like a one-person show with all one theme. Right. Do you know what I mean?
That's interesting.
But I have a tremendous amount of respect for your ability to do that.
I just did a big, like, I have a new hour that I've been going around doing, and I say new hour like nobody, it's not
like a Louis
it's not going anywhere. But, I'm like trying to get another special, and like HBO came to see it in Brooklyn, and it was like a sold out Bell House, and it was really great. And I do this very mild, I call it 1% Hannah Gadsby, like where she's like a hero to me, went for it. I watered mine down to like 1%. And it was just about like how guys want to be our allies, and it's the same way with Black to White. Like, when they hear our stories of harassment and how we've been harassed every 10 seconds since we were 3, they don't have to be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. We didn't know it was harassment. Like, so I do the story about the flasher in the library when I was 4, and then the guy who showed me his penis at the mall when I was getting my ears pierced. I've seen so many dicks by the time I'm 10. Right. And it ends in a funny anecdote about doing a poem in front of the class about a lighthouse that was really phallic. And the mean boys were like, that sounds like a penis, but it's a really funny 20-minute bit about how many penises I saw before I even should have, culminating with this poem. And then the teacher said, boys will be boys. And I got in trouble and they didn't. Like, oh, it's very cute. Mild feminism. The audience loved it. I had a really good set. Someone from HBO came, and the feedback they gave my manager was a guy my fucking age. He said it was really, he goes, everyone was laughing, but I didn't really get why. Like, I thought it was funny, but I thought it was sad, and it made me sad to be a man. I felt so bad. And I didn't get a fucking special. And then a dear friend, I love Daniel Sloss, but I just saw a trailer for his HBO special, and it's kind of similar. Right. But I guess it's okay coming from a dude. I'm not saying like,
right, but it's
give any woman a special, but it wasn't too sad.
No, it was the key. It made me feel bad.
Yes, and my manager goes, I wouldn't worry about that. I go, I already know the answer is no. Because she didn't say yes or no when she told me that story. And I go, I already know I'm not getting one. I already know from that feedback. This is a bad story. Edit it out. But my point is,
it's not a bad story.
But that's what makes me self-conscious. So I water it.
Right.
And I feel like,
you mean
but
you
it makes
water
me
it?
happy.
You mean you work on it when you say you water it, or
no,
you water
meaning
the
like water it down,
backing away from the.
Oh,
but I do. I'm very sure. Like, I'm smiling. I'm happy. It's really silly, and I actually really like that. I'm more silly now than ever.
Right.
So I'm actually not unhappy about it. But if the audience was only women forever and a day,
right,
it would be way different. I'm definitely affected by the fact that men are in the audience.
But you must be, at this point, you must at least be having at least huge percentages of your audience are there to see you.
Yes, but weirdly, like 70% of my audience is men. I'm not kidding.
Yeah. But,
Oh, no. I don't know. My audiences are very small now. Very small, almost not worth it touring small, and they're not all there to see me. So it used to be, but with this new material, no. So that's why I'm watering it down too, because I'm back at.
Do you feel like you're back at, because you promote yourself?
I have to.
In a good way.
Yeah.
And it'd be nice if I could.
Well, do you remember when Twitter, like 7 years ago, where you would post once and then people would know about your show?
Right.
It's over.
I have to do 6 times a day the same show. And on time 6, somebody goes, "Oh my God, I'm so glad you posted about this. I had no idea you were coming." I'm like, how do you not see the 75? But I'm not mad at them. I'm just like.
Because people go on Twitter and look at their mentions and then don't look at the other people's tweets except for once in a while.
And we have lists now and so.
But
I
your
have to
email is.
promote.
That's I'm fascinated by your
Nobody's
email.
on it.
I always use you as an example of that. You're
you're our
You're our go-to person.
How many people do you think are on my
You're
email
our comic
list?
with shit together 10th pole.
10,000.
Oh, I have it together.
10,000 people.
No, not even. I have it together, but it's like 20 hours a week I spend doing all that stuff.
Wow.
It's exhausting. And I have other jobs because I'm not making money touring. This is the worst. Can we edit this out?
No, we won't.
Get back
But
to
here's the
funny
thing,
stuff.
because this whole thing is
You've heard of our
No, it's
pathetic,
funny you talk
horrible
about
lives.
death. The other morning you talked about death right off the bat. It was so comforting to me. I'm so afraid to die.
Well, my mom's not doing well. Would that help?
Yes.
Well, are you really afraid to die? Because only thing I can say to you is
Since
that
I've been a kid.
I was really scared to die when I was
Every
a kid.
5 minutes, it's on my. I wake up in the middle of the night every night, 3 times a night, and I
Checking
sleep,
yourself for crib death kind of thing?
I sleep really well.
Yeah.
So like I don't have insomnia, but when I do wake up sometimes, my first thought is like,
Siri, poke me at 3.
do you know I'm one of those weirdos that I don't have any of those things you talk to? Do you?
What?
No, I think
Siri?
that's good.
I know they're recording us, and I'm not one of these people.
No, like Alexa is for sure.
100%, right?
right.
Didn't they admit that?
Well,
I've seen your stuff with Benny Hill music.
I thought that was so funny. Great. No, but I wake up in the middle of the night every night, like, because you know when they say, "Oh, I want to die peacefully in my sleep." Well, just because you find someone dead in the bed in the morning doesn't mean in the middle of the night they weren't like,
That's true.
I can't breathe, I'm dying. Like, I'm just terrified
You
of.
need a baby monitor.
Well, but who's monitoring it? I'm alone.
Oh, so you live alone, right?
Yes, absolutely. No one in my
scared
life.
that you're gonna? Because I used to, growing up in the house. He
are you
makes
doing
fun of
heavy
me.
drugs at night?
No, I don't do any
He
drugs.
doesn't do anything. But he used to make fun of me because I'm scared to walk home. Like Susan won't let me walk home in the dark.
Well, I'm scared because I'm a lady. I think I'd be scared if I was a man too.
Yeah, what's
He is.
Yeah, so I'm scared. But the thing is that
How close do you live to here?
like 4 blocks.
It was dark. Like, that's why I got lost walking when I parked.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't see street numbers.
I'm pretending she's saying, and then I made a left on Schmeckeltown. No, but here's the thing. I was very scared. I've learned so much from therapy, but it's also new to me that I feel like I'm a convert. But I learned so much about, I didn't have nurturing from my parents. And my dad was so smart, but he was an atheist. So
Yes.
it leaves, so my whole arguing with these mean Islamophobists are me arguing with my father again.
Sure.
So, but I have found that I used to be scared. As I've gotten older, I'm not scared of it anymore.
Oh, that's such a relief. Well,
Yeah.
the thing is,
Also, your father died.
I think it takes
Which
something
takes
like
him
that.
It takes him off the fear list, is what I'm
I'm
saying.
pretending to leave now.
Oh, but I think it does help when like my parents are not dead. And as much therapy as I've had around this death stuff, like it's not getting better.
How much therapy have you had?
I go once a week for 20 years,
Okay, so
but I have a spiritual life too. And I meditate like
Are you worried about? I mean, it's not. I mean,
not the afterlife. No,
So you're just worried about the pain
the moment of
dying.
death, the moment of fear and not breathing.
and no therapy has helped at all? Like,
And I'm going to start doing, there's a very specific meditation to do about dying where you kind of imagine you're taking your last breath and you get okay with it.
I have to say, I have seen people in that phase, and it is not a terrorized. It's not a terrorized.
I heard you say on the podcast that somebody was fighting it once.
Well,
and it was-
that was one out
That's
of
gonna
like
be me.
5, though.
But I guess you can't fight it as well. I'm trying to learn not to fight it. Like, in other words, I can be as scared as I want in the middle of the night now.
Right.
But in the moment of truth, if I'm not fighting it, it might go better for me.
I believe. I mean, what I've witnessed, and this, this is also anecdotal from other people, is that people, at least who are dying,
Yeah.
have a moment usually. Not right at the moment of death, but sometime near to the time of death.
Yeah.
They will have a moment that is usually like almost a dream, or there's some biological thing that floods people with a sense of peace about it.
Which I had as a small child, because I thought, I've said this in the podcast, but you have to listen to the specific one, and please don't listen anymore. It's embarrassing. But I thought I was going to die when I was like 3 years old, because my mom couldn't hear me yelling, and I was burning up. And then when I thought I was going to die, it was the most peaceful, amazing
and you remember
feeling.
that at age 3?
Yes, because I can't conjure that up.
Yeah.
And so I really that to me was as close as I know to near death, that your body probably isn't going dying like this. Well,
I believe that. Like, I know we're designed, and it's genius, by science, and the white light is really your brain, and I love all that. But I was raised, like, okay, I'll give you an example. Everyone in my family lives till, like, my dad's dad and my mom's dad, they both kind of died in their 60s. And I put my hand up.
That is the best visual ever.
But the women, 99, everyone lives till 99. The people, my grandmother beat breast cancer twice, like every uncle in my family, no one dies of anything. Like, everyone's knocking on all the things. When my Nana died at 99, she literally was never sick a day in her life. She didn't have some long chronic illness. Her death probably was a little bit sad, like she fell, and we don't know how long she was there, but my mom goes, "It's so unfair." And I go, "What?" And she goes, "That she died." I go, "She was 99 and was never sick." That's literally the most fair.
Yeah, that's the best you can.
I don't have these adult role models that are like, death is a part of life. My mother, I remember the day John Lennon died. Hello? Ruthie, what? Oh my God. And she drops to the floor. And I'm sick, so I don't know that the Beatles have broken up. I'm listening to the Beatles every day. And John Lennon, I don't really understand. It's all different things, and I don't know. And I said, did the Beatles break up? Like, because she said John Lennon died. I said, does this mean the Beatles broke up? Like, and she was like, and then she just said, certain people in show business should never have to die. To her, it was Judy Garland, Marilyn Monroe, John Lennon. They should have gotten a pass for immortality. And that's probably why I got into show business, because I was like, maybe that's or try, I'm not in it, but but I do think that, like, I come from a long line of people who are, my parents are still afraid of death. We talked about it. All we do is sit around and talk about death and the Holocaust. I can't believe we're not Jewish. We just talk about the Holocaust and death all the time. Wow. I mean, how horrible the Holocaust was.
Is your dad watching it on the History Channel kind of stuff?
No, my mom and I are just reading about it every chance we get. I just read a great spy book, a real story called, it's like The Unknown Woman. It was like an American woman with one leg. She didn't have kids. She was divorced. She blew her own leg off because she loved hunting. And she was like, fuck it. What else do I have going on? I love Paris. I speak French. I'll be a spy for America, and I'll live in France. And she's like one of the reasons we defeated Hitler. Like, she killed so many people.
Wow.
She was tricking the Nazis by making friends with all the madams. And so, like, the Nazis would go to whores. Prostitutes, ladies of the night. And then,
I like that you're apologizing.
The prostitutes would, like, get their secrets because they'd shoot them up with heroin, and then they'd talk, and then they'd steal their stuff. Like, it was, anyway. And then my mom just read a book about Audrey Hepburn. And she gave me a copy for Christmas. She was like, she felt a connection with Anne Frank. Audrey's mother was a Nazi. She was very unhappy, but you have to read the books. And we just talk about the Holocaust.
That's why she didn't get a pass. She deserved to die.
Yeah, so anyway, long story short.
She wasn't one of the magic ones.
I'm from a whole line of people that don't think death is fair. So I'm not going to win. I'm not going to get over that pathology in this lifetime.
That's the last step. That's the last barrier you have to being Jewish.
What?
Is that Jews come into the world with an inherent sense that things are unfair, and that the worst case scenario will happen. So.
That's how I grew up.
Right, but we're at peace with it.
Oh,
we
isn't that interesting? Yeah. That you have just nailed something that has not confused me, but made me wonder. Like, when I'm like, why do people, like, why is certain parts of Christianity or Catholicism and Judaism the same? But different.
Right.
We have the same.
Well, I also think that Catholicism is shame-based.
Yeah.
And Judaism is guilt-based, if you can see the distinction.
100%. I do. And I do think we come in with the same, whatever you just said, but you're in acceptance and we are fighting it.
Right.
Because we have more crazy miracles than you do. Like,
Exactly.
Jesus came back from the dead and then we did this. So we've got some weird false hopes that we might beat.
Yeah, and we barely have a concept of hell, heaven and hell even.
Yeah, right.
That's never pushed to you.
Brilliant.
Well, what
gotta convert.
Lenny Bruce used to say that he was jealous of people who were Christian because they had something to relate to. You could relate to Jesus, but if you're Jewish, there's nobody you can relate to.
Oh, we didn't relate.
Oh but you didn't at all? Because my wife did. She loved Jesus when she was a young girl.
I guess I maybe like enjoyed the good messages, but I didn't relate in any way. Like I wasn't a good person.
Yeah, but the story is beautiful, whereas Moses is,
Moses got punished at the end.
Yeah, Moses is bringing plagues and
he got punished?
Yeah, Moses was not allowed to enter Israel.
And did he ever have a redemption?
He had to stay outside across the River Jordan while all the other Jews entered Israel.
Oh, see, I think
because
that's
he had disobeyed God years earlier.
I think that's great you grew up with that.
Well, it also depends on how you grew up. I mean, you could grow up Catholic and hate it from the get-go, too.
Yeah, we were very mild. Went to church. No, we didn't talk about God in the house.
Right.
We didn't overkill it.
Yeah.
So I got what I wanted to out of church.
Right.
And I didn't get any, luckily I wasn't molested or anything, but I didn't get any, I heard weird stuff, but I was always like.
That's the only place where girls have the upper hand.
Oh my God, that's so true. It's the only place I wasn't afraid where the boys were. But no, I was just like, oh, I like this Jesus stuff. That sounds nice. And then everything else I was kind of able to tune out because I didn't go home and have weird stuff beaten into me. It was just like, I would say Catholics or atheists who are like, just in case. No.
That's where the real trouble seems to happen.
I think that's where it is. No, it was
when
just
the nuns get involved that.
Yeah, just like believe, what does it cost you? Save yourself.
Right.
And then we have to keep talking about it's too much, like whatever. And, but yeah, that's so interesting. I didn't know. I wanted to be Jewish growing up because my town was like heavily Jewish population, or at least half or whatever. And my friends were Jewish, but, I think I only went to a few bar mitzvahs or bat mitzvahs. And I was always so jealous.
Yeah.
Of just like this joy. It was like joy. And people got money.
It's attention and money.
Yeah, but there was like this, there wasn't joy in Catholicism.
By the way.
Did you do stand up at your bar mitzvah?
No, I just killed with my Torah reading.
Wait, isn't that my joke?
I hope not.
I did.
I hope you're not.
That's one of my first jokes. I said I killed. The rabbi couldn't follow me. I got 6 applause. Every Jewish joke now that I've done.
I can show you me using that joke in print in 1987.
I know, that's
literally.
what makes me feel terrible about it.
Maybe it's like same thought theater.
No, but it makes me feel bad because I thought I was so clever. But
maybe you're both clever.
No,
that's certainly not the case.
No, we can't have that. But that was my first edit. That was my first censoring was when I did. You could write your own bar mitzvah speech. He knows this story. So I wrote in my bar mitzvah speech, it doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor, male or female, young or old, just as long as you're Jewish. That's my first joke.
Hilarious.
And the rabbi crossed it out. As long as you're a good person. As long as you're a good person.
Do you know that could be on something that you sell? Like Bed Bath & Beyond has these like Jewish dish towels, if you see them at Hanukkah.
But you're really thinking big for me.
Like that is something that could be on a pillow, and you sell it at like Jewish centers to old grandmothers.
My nickname for him is Jewish dish towel. What's with that Jewish dish towel?
Say the thing again. That is embroidered on something. I would have that on a little embroidery.
I thought it was I was so happy with the joke. Of course, he probably came up with it 4 years earlier.
No.
Whether you're rich or poor, male or female, young or old. Doesn't matter, just as long as you're Jew.
It's so good.
But I didn't say it.
And it works for any nationality or ethnicity.
No, I only want Jewish.
No, but for dish towel sales, I think you should open it up.
This is Jewish only. Stop trying to take it away from us.
The rabbi couldn't follow me. I thought that was the greatest.
You don't think that works with Italian? I'm sorry.
It does, but look it.
All right,
I'm trying to protect our people. Suddenly I'm Jewish.
Suddenly Susan. Suddenly she's Jewish. Caroline, you know what? Caroline the City holds up. I'm just kidding.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Even when she was in the city?
I didn't even when it was on. I don't know. There were some years I just didn't have a TV,
many of those shows.
I guess.
Nobody watched that show.
Not in like a cool way, but in like I didn't have a TV.
Of course, I was on a set of Raymond acting on Raymond, and he knows this story again.
Raymond, everybody loves.
Everybody loves. So, and someone says, we're talking about Wings. And I go, Wings, yeah, that's one of those shows everybody claims they've watched it, but I don't think people really ever watch it. And the guy who's directing the show goes, I'm going to have to stop you. I created that show.
Oh, you idiot.
I was such an idiot.
Oh, God, you can't say stuff out loud on TV sets, I don't think. Do you think that hurt your career?
I think, yes, I'm sure I've hurt my career in terms of like.
Do you think that the 25 years of speeches railing against everybody he could think of in show business hurt his career?
If that is true, then they can fuck off for asking you to do them. Like,
for sure. I'm just saying that compared to that versus
I would think that would be more
impactful
because it's not like.
It wasn't contextualized.
Yeah, it wasn't like a performance.
I've learned everything through therapy. I've learned to accept that I could be guilty of self-sabotage. I've learned to accept that that's okay.
Acceptance is the key to all our problems.
But it really sounds like a cliche, but I have lost the ambition gene in the negative way.
Right.
And I don't know if I ever had it as bad as some people do.
Yeah.
I never had a Louis C.K.
No, because I liked you.
Yeah, right. I don't have ambition either. I literally I'm alone in the world. Like, my parents don't own a house. I'm not getting an inheritance. I'm not married. Like, I don't have anyone to rely on but me. And the only work I do is this work.
And you were married too.
Yeah. What did that have to do with it?
I just can't believe it because you're married and divorced.
Yeah, it was awful.
So way to throw that in.
No, because I know the story. I know some of the story. But
it was my choice. I wasn't happy, and I'm sure he wasn't either. Just we made a mistake. We weren't really in love, but like that. Well, I don't even know but that
had no point to make except that I had no point to make. But that has that made you more gun shy, as the kids say?
No, oh God, no. I've been in love a million times since then. It just hasn't worked out. Like,
have you really?
He was just proving that he's comfortable with self-sabotage. He was trying to put that.
No, I have. I mean, it says things aren't working out in some areas. So my point is that like the amount of work I'm doing is literally just so I'm not like dying in a one room, I don't live in a one room apartment, but you know what I mean? So I'm setting up my future. Like, I'm not ambitious. Like, I want everyone to know my name. If I just found a bag of money and could live on it, I would never perform again.
So you're saying non-ambition is actually equals self-destructive?
No, I'm saying like.
She's saying it's good.
I'm saying like people often think I'm ambitious because I'm always working, but I'm always working because it's paycheck to paycheck.
I gotcha.
And I'm trying to survive and set up my future because I don't have anyone to rely on. But it makes me miserable. Like, I would rather just, I
didn't know that about you.
Yeah, like, I like to travel and live life and learn about things. And I never wanted to, like, doing comedy, if I could do like 10,000 seat theaters or 5,000 seat or have, whatever, and just do 10 cities, like, of course.
No, it's not a good life.
It's not, I didn't expect it to be at this level at this age.
Yeah.
So I don't think I knew at 20 what 45 would look like. And I'm just like, oh, and then certain things fell through. I guess I just not in a bad way. It just, this wouldn't be my first choice.
Right.
And so like any work I'm doing is literally just to pay the bills like anyone. And if I could figure out, like, I'd love to somehow work with people with anxiety or fear of flying. Like, if I could make a living, like, I'm trying to.
Like, showbiz isn't the be all end all.
No, I don't care at all. And if
your
people
most
are like,
marketable skill.
No, yes. And if people are like, oh, no one's going to remember you. Who cares? I'm never going to know.
Right.
That's what I'll never get is people who care about a legacy.
It took me a long time, but I in the past 10 years or so, I've let go of any sort of legacy ideas or any of that.
Yeah.
And the thing that turned me really was when Paul McCartney was worrying about it. Paul McCartney was like, remember, like he was like trying to like get Yoko to let him flip some of the songs to McCartney and Lennon instead of letting McCartney.
Yes,
yeah.
I never thought about it that way, that it was a legacy issue.
That's what he was worried about.
It wasn't a money issue.
No, it was people would do internet searches and his name would get cut off. He said that.
And then when you see someone that successful, you go, this is a pathology. This is a sickness.
Yeah, but I was just like, but if McCartney can't be comfortable with his legacy,
you're never gonna be.
Then what am I even thinking about? Like why would I,
That's so smart to get from that.
That's what I got, like a lightning bolt almost.
Yeah, I don't think I ever had it.
I did. I had pretty grandiose visions for myself at one point, but
I did too. But they're all about the now.
Well, but I also found that when I got here and saw the people that had the things that I thought I wanted, it never matched up with who I was. You know, seeing them, it was like, but I'm not that person. You know, for a time I thought I should be Judd Apatow.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't have that drive. I don't have that desire to be in it all the time, up to my ass in 8 projects, telling 90,000 people what to do, you know?
I've always said this sounds very black and white, and there's a lot of crossover. But if the world were just artists and winners, I'm more of an artist. It doesn't mean my stuff is good. It just means I'm just like,
that was another breakthrough. My brother, you know, who's a PhD and I always, you know, it was always like, I wonder if he respects me. But there was one time where he referred to me as like this who's lived an artist's life. And it's just like, yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And once I started framing it that way in my head,
yeah,
I was so much more successful.
Do you know what's so funny? You know? There's 3 comics in my life who've asked me for advice because they admired maybe what you guys were talking about before, just kind of like a fearlessness or whatever.
Yeah.
But this was like 15 years ago before any of us had, you know, I didn't even have my little bit of success. They didn't have their big success. But 3 people asked me, and I'll tell you who they are, how do I do what you do? And I went, oh, what do you mean? And they're like, well, like, how do I be more like you? And I go, oh, I don't know. I just sort of feel it out. And I just started doing my hippie vibe.
Right.
And they just stared at me like, what the fuck? And they went, I'm good. It was Tiffany Haddish, Whitney Cummings, Chris Hardwick. Could you think of 3 people more different in approach than me? And I think they were like, when hippie Jen was coming at them, like, whatevs, man, and just get up there. And they were like, I'm a winner. I thought I was interviewing a winner. Like, and they just like robotically like, on to the next person. Not in a bad way at all.
No, but they thought there was an easily quantifiable secret that they could add to their checklist of secrets.
Yeah. And then they ended up like, just like they didn't have time to hear my whatever. Like, yeah, of course we know that. I'm asking for something else. And they went on and achieved. But I don't mean that they're these robot checklist people.
No, but I think I've talked
it was just the look in their eyes.
I have this belief that it's like there's these 2 columns of people. There's incredibly ambitious people and incredibly talented people. And then and there's both.
Yeah.
There's people who are both, you know, and some from column A make it and some from column B make it. But the people who are in column C are both, all of them make it.
Yes.
You know,
I had the column C's coming at me and they were just like, I don't know what you're saying. And I was like, okay.
Well, also, you know, it's such a weird thing because you're really not in control. Like when I heard Catherine O'Hare talk about SCTV, and when she talks about it, she had fun, but she'll never have the feeling I had watching it. Because it was a job, you know what I mean? It was like, it's like a job that she loved, but that's the thing that's kind of interesting about it, because not only is legacy, like, you know, what will people think thousands of years, but years from now, irrelevant, but what's happening right now is so either important or not important. It's about everything or it's not about everything. Because I found now I'm getting better by when I go to parties and I'm not enjoying myself. Mm-hmm. To stop trying to enjoy myself or expecting that this is going to be the greatest thing.
Don't New Year's Eve yourself.
Yeah. And I'm kind of like,
that's genius.
I'm kind of like calming. I was finally getting into my own skin by the time I'm 64.
I feel the same way. Like the last 2 years, I'm like, oh, this is what being alive should have always felt like. All right.
But don't you think you perform if you didn't have to perform? Because I love doing sets and stuff, but
just not as often with all the promoting. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's all. Yeah.
I
but you still love being on. You love being on stage, right?
I love it.
Yeah.
And I think it's a little bit of a heartbreak that it didn't work out quite, or that it worked out a little bit. And you know those people that like things are working out and they self-sabotage? Like I was one of those people that when things started working out, I was like, oh, cool. Like, yeah, I put in the work and now it's happening and like, it'll probably be easy from here, but not in like a naive way or a shitty way.
Right.
And then like it lasted about a year and I was like, oh, well, I didn't expect that. Oh, and then like now I have to figure out what that, like, I don't think I did anything wrong. Like, I think I rode my wave with dignity and grace, and you wouldn't even know there was a wave, but for me, there was. Like, I was getting to perform.
Waves are shorter these days.
They are shorter.
Waves are short.
And I think there's like, I'm having a lot of opportunities in life. Like, I won't get into it, but let's just say in all areas of life, I'm having opportunities to interact with people under 30.
Yeah.
And it's really been important for me because even in my 30s, I was becoming that old lady that doesn't like younger people.
Right.
And I've had a major turnaround in the last like
That's
5
great.
years. So now I really love younger people.
I'm skewing way younger now too because I mean, I play, all my friends are like But they have been since
He meant good looking.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought
leather
it was
jacketed.
Yeah, tough guys.
I thought it was because I'm sadly old. I was running around a couple of months
That's
ago.
your issue.
Well, I was running around saying, "Did you know Pete Carroll's the oldest? He's the oldest coach in the NFL." And then I find out he's 69. It's like, you fucking idiot.
Yeah,
He's like
baby.
6 years older than. And I'm like, can you believe how old he is?
But that is old. I mean,
Stop it.
No, I don't mean old, but
Now
to
made me-
you,
now
to
made me
you it
remember
is.
I'm going to die.
No, but to you
No,
it
it's
is.
just a good time to start winding down.
No, there is a
Start
point.
whining.
You
Do you
have to
have a
make
will?
certain plans. Yes, but I don't have a way. Groucho.
I have a cousin who's my dad's age, like late 70s, and he lives in San Diego, and he came to one of my shows last week, and he was like, he's not like the biggest fan of the family on the East Coast. And he's like, I was researching it. It'll cost me $14,000 to ship my body back. So I'm going to get cremated. And I go, oh, do you want me to do anything? He's like, I've got friends. I'm going to be thrown in the hills of Palm Springs or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, and I said to him, I should write this down. Like, because I don't even want to talk about it. It's too morbid. But yes, you should write stuff down.
Well, I
mean, you have a will probably.
I do have a will, but one thing cracked me up. Like, I don't like to drop names. Zach Galifianakis is very close, but he said once, he goes, he gets these calls from relatives. He's like, now I'm gonna tell you right now, Zach, I am not going to be able to pay you back. You know what I mean? It's like,
Are they?
I'm going to be the first person.
They're
right
starting
now.
to ask for money, but they start the
they
sentence
need
with
$10,000. I'm going to be honest with you. You're not getting it back.
Wow, that must be hard to have
I
all
think
these
it
people
is
asking
hard.
for money.
Yeah.
Should I not ask him for money, you're saying? Because I'm not a relative and I may pay him back.
Well, you should hit people up for money, like rich people.
Why don't they just offer? To be honest, are you a little bit offended that Zach doesn't even just offer? Just a little bit.
Sometimes they hypnotize.
He's seen your situation.
Yeah.
Does Zach know that
It's
my
not
family...
by choice what I'm doing.
You know, I don't think Zach remembers that my family doesn't own a house. I'm going to let him know. That I'm not getting
That's
an
the
inheritance.
kind of thing. And
They have a 300-year-old cottage with a bathroom by the kitchen.
Cottage.
they don't even have servants.
Oh, so my dad's house came for free with his job. That's why I keep saying we don't have a house.
Oh.
So they don't get to have it in death.
What is that? Like DuPont?
What do you mean? DuPont?
Where do you get the deal with the?
Oh, my dad's a greenskeeper of a golf course, so the house is on the golf course. So because it was a lower paying job, but in a very wealthy suburb, the only way they could have afforded to live in it is if the house was free.
That's the sitcom.
So that's the
He
situation.
lives in the free house, and,
Yeah.
and instead of a comedian, you're a very funny piano teacher.
Hey, is that an A flat? It sounds like an A. You punch it up.
Minus.
You're the writer.
Those were the ideas I come back from Montreal. You come back and you're
Yeah.
in a business where you make fun of everyone, you hate everyone, and you tell them why they're terrible.
Wait, that's your show?
Yeah, because I yell at the
Oh, yeah,
industry.
right. What would your sitcom be? It'd be
I
very
yell
meta.
at people. I would yell at people. It'd be like the funniest guy at the business, and I keep taking the piss.
But that
out.
is actually a job now. Like, well, I mean, you could be a consultant.
I'm fine, but if I do need,
I mean, I'm taking you back to the 90s. I'm going to come back and help you pitch your sitcom in a time machine.
I almost taught.
My favorite new job that I just discovered, which is very off the beaten path here from what we're talking about, is orchid sitter, essentially. There's a guy.
The flower?
The flower. You know how orchids bloom?
Because they're so delicate, you
They
need
bloom,
someone to...
and then they die, and then
Yeah.
it takes a year for them to bloom again. You know?
Okay, you've just blown my mind with something, but continue. I have a question.
So this guy basically has people rent a space in his thing, like $2 a month for an orchid.
Right.
And he calls them when it blooms again. So they can, so they don't just throw it away like most people would do with an orchid.
That was my question. I've thrown them away. And I was
Yeah.
like, these things never last.
No, but they'll bloom again eventually.
That's so... I'm going to start
But
crying.
you basically have a stick sitting there for 8 months in the meantime.
Oh my God, I'm literally tearing up. Maybe I'm in the stick part of my career in life. I'll
There you
bloom
go.
again.
Well, I was
could
actually
never
going to
cry.
I was going to make that point though about where you are from my perspective.
No.
Is that you've done enough really good work so that the door is open for you. I think when you have your next big idea, I believe that you're at a
Well,
place
last
where
year I pitched a third book. All the publishing companies said no. I pitched 4 show ideas. 17 networks said no, and every network said
And
no to
I-
my special. So I don't. What other ideas do I have?
well, the next one.
I tell you, my next
The
big
next
one
one is
is
what I'm
actually a
saying.
non-funny thing about helping people with fear of flying.
Yeah.
It's completely not funny at all. It's just
my mom did that. She
What?
took a class because
Me too.
The first time she went flying, the plane caught on fire, and
Jesus.
she couldn't go back for like 25. But she took one of those classes where they kind of simulated.
Yeah. I took one of those too. It didn't help, but they do help.
Do you still have horrible fear of flying?
No. I got over it.
Erica Jong.
Wait, what's that?
She wrote Fear of Flying.
Oh, that's right. Oh, sorry. Right. And her daughter's on Twitter.
Yeah, Robert Bly.
Molly Jong Fast.
Robert Bly?
Yeah.
The Iron John
Iron
guy?
John, yes.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
He used to go in the woods, Robert Bly.
It was like men empowerment. It was
Was
like,
he related to?
Same, remember John, men are from Mars, and then
Yeah.
from the other area.
No,
Yeah.
different dude, Robert.
Different guy.
dude, but
wasn't
same
Robert
time
Bly.
period.
But that dude that did Men
Yes.
Empowerment was not married to
No.
Jong. Okay.
His name was
No,
Robert.
no, but the guy who did Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus was married to Beverly DeAngelis, who was another relationship expert.
Not Beverly D'Angelo.
Not Giangelo.
Deland DeAngelis.
Oh, and what was her book?
She was like another.
I'm not Beverly
90s
D'Angelo.
Relationship.
That's her fifth book.
Life guru expert.
It's just pictures of her and pictures of Beverly D'Angelo with an arrow that
Not
says,
her.
not me.
Not her.
Okay, this is like a greatest hits if anyone listening like has listened to me on other things. But just really quick, I took a fear flying course in the 90s in Boston at Logan Airport, and it was called Logan's Heroes. I'm not kidding. And it was like back when you could like, pre 9/11, like no ID, pay cash. The doctor, God rest his soul, Dr. Al Forgione, short little squat guy, would smoke, drink coffee, and eat fast food during the class. And one of the big components, as I'm sure maybe your mom learned, is like your nervous system, like got to take care of that at least a day before the flight. So like no caffeine, no smoking, and drinking on the flight doesn't help. And so we learned all this like nutrition stuff. But he'd be there smoking, and this woman goes, "Doctor, why are you smoking then and drinking coffee?" And he's like, "'Cause I'm not the one who's afraid." It was so great. And we took a graduation flight from Boston to LaGuardia, and we all just paid cash at the airport. And we get on the plane and we're doing the like relaxation, and it's like business people from Boston to LaGuardia. And he's like, the plane's starting to rev up, and he's like, "Begin the relaxation response." He's his Boston accent. He's like, "Relax your calves." So we're doing that. Everyone else is like cured. I'm still anxious.
Oh my God.
So then like I'm hyper aware of everything. So it's just like what I was like as a kid. And long story short, like after the whole class was over, he said, "I think you have anxiety in general and you need to work on that and then worry about flying." Like these people don't have anxiety in life. They just have a phobia, which is two different things, So I found that out later. But as we were landing, we started circling LaGuardia, and everyone who was cured was so dumb about it. They're looking out the window like, "This is amazing." Like Kuhlhauser.
The people are like ants.
And I'm like, "Why aren't we landing? Why aren't we landing? The flight was supposed to be 42 minutes. It's 50 minutes. Now it's 57. I'm like, "Why aren't we landing in New York?" He's like, "I don't know." I'm like, "This terrorism. I was just freaking out about terrorism.
Oh my God.
So we finally land in LaGuardia.
You're bringing everybody down, right?
Well, he's the only one that can hear me.
Oh,
he's
I
like,
got
"Don't
you.
let the students hear." So we land in LaGuardia. There's all these like, what would be normal now, but like security is there. And when we're getting back on the plane, they're like going through our bags, which again, in 1996, that was not a thing. And I was like, "What are they doing?" And so I pulled one of the people aside. I said, "What's going on?" And they're like, "There was a bomb threat called into the parking garage at LaGuardia. That's why your plane couldn't land."
Oh.
So now like we couldn't find the bomb or the people, so we're just being careful. And I was like, "So you just like let every flight go even though you can't find the bomb?"
What can you do? You find them and you don't find them. You want to close everything down? In 96, that's what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we get on the plane, and I told the doctor sees me talking to a security guard. He runs over. He's like, "Get over here." I'm like, "I know what's going on." He's like, "Just don't tell the other students." And so I'm like,
ruining it for everybody.
So we're on the flight back, and everyone's like, "I'm cured." And I go, "There was a bomb." And he was like, "Jesus Christ." So I told everybody on the flight that there was.
And then everyone freak out then?
No, they were fine. But I yelled on a plane there was a bomb. And again, nobody cared. Like, you could do that back then. Right. And then we landed and we got our certificates. And that's when he took me aside and he was like, "You're very fucked up."
Did you see? Because that's what I didn't know that I had anxiety. I didn't know. I never identified it my whole life.
Yeah, that was the
to me
first
is
time.
amazing. Still.
Yeah,
that's still amazing that you couldn't put your finger on anxiety.
It's very hard. It's funny. Like I've had it my whole life as well, but then a few years ago, I kind of forgot what the definition was.
Yeah.
And so the last few years, I was kind of struggling. And I was like, well, it's not anxiety because I'm having racing thoughts and can't stop obsessing over things, but anxiety is different. And then I reread the definition and I was like, oh, because I wasn't feeling
it's not hunger. I just need something to eat.
Yeah. I was like, well, I don't feel nervous, so it's not anxiety. I forgot it wasn't nervousness. It was just preoccupation and weird habits. And it's easy to forget.
Yeah, yeah.
Or it's easy to not know because you're so used to it.
For me, it was
You don't know anything's weird. You've never been anyone else.
I thought I had, when I would get on planes, my stomach would be like twisted in knots. And then when I got on Adderall for ADHD,
Yeah.
I've never had a stomach ache on a plane. So I realized it was all anxiety.
Isn't that so weird that someone who really needs Adderall doesn't make you anxious?
It's exactly. Tom Arnold said that people, because he couldn't do it anymore because he would chop it up and snort it.
Yeah.
Right.
But he said,
I can't stop my leg.
isn't it amazing? If Robert Klein had been diagnosed with restless leg syndrome,
That's right,
we would have been
career.
saved. I bet you don't even know that bit.
I can't stop my leg.
I know that bit, but what do you mean if Robert Klein had been
That's like his-
we could have been saved from the bit. I thought you meant his. I thought
Because he
you were
does
talking
it
about
all,
him
literally
dying.
does it all. He still does it. I can't stop. Now,
I
you
don't mind
making
that bit.
Okay, you know, because I used to pretend I knew bits.
No, I've heard. I don't know what the bit's about, but I can't stop my
Robert
leg.
Klein was
I know what that is.
Let's start mansplaining big
No,
time.
but wait, but I don't know the whole thing. No, but I can't stop my leg is like a thing I've heard. Does that make sense?
So what happens?
It's a
Do I know the bit? But I'm inferring now
he
that it's a
starts like
restless leg bit.
Show how it goes. He's like, he'll go,
It's basically him with a blues band.
Yeah.
And then, so
Yeah, and he makes it into a song, right?
He starts out, being a very thing.
Yeah.
And then his legs going and going like a, bluesman.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the lyric is, I can't stop my leg.
Yes.
I can't stop my leg.
I knew what that was, but I didn't know whatever all
And
you
then
just
eventually
said.
the second beat is, my leg stopped. And then he goes into an, oh Lord, thank you so
Are you
much
joking?
for stopping my leg. Oh Lord, it was going so hard. And then it's, there it goes again.
That's kind of funny.
it is, but it's also
It's committed.
another reason why I
Yeah.
was scared to sing.
But that's how I
'Cause I don't
know.
want to be perceived as a Robert Klein kind of singer with the fake blues, right?
Well, fake blues is kind of like
He was he's pretentious about the blues, like all things.
He think he's a great
when he
blues
was on
guy?
later, he brought his harmonica along and he was soaking it before the
these
show.
these dudes and their blues. No, but I knew I can't stop my leg. Like it's one of those things, like a 1-800 mattress song. Like I didn't know what it
it's like
was.
a Take My Wife, Please.
Yeah, but then
kind
when
of.
you started talking about it, I assumed you were saying the bit was about restless legs. But your
Right.
joke is now I get the joke.
He still occasionally falls and can't. He still occasionally falls and can't get up.
That's not true.
He does. 5 years ago, my manager called me up and said he literally is doing that still. Maybe not now.
He is 40 years of First Thought
Didn't
Theater.
he die? No. Am I confusing him with the other guy?
You may be confused because he had
Schimmel?
this rare.
Napoleon?
Schimmel?
Schimmel died.
Robert Schimmel's been
Yeah,
dead for
sorry,
a while,
Robert
yeah.
Klein.
But you may be confused it because apparently his leg did not stop.
He's like a chicken. You kill him, but his leg keeps going for 10 minutes.
God, I was in like an improv group in Boston before I got
Would
on
we know
stage
the
and
name
did
of it?
stand up. Well,
The Yes Enders.
no, it was like comedy. It wasn't comedy sports, but it was more games.
Yeah.
So there was no yes ending. It's called Improv Boston, but they're really good now. But like I was in it, like was a little more like hokey. But there was like that bit you do, like I've got the blah blah blues.
Oh God, the blues
And everyone
structure.
would do it. Yeah,
as
the
they call
blues
it.
structure.
Yes.
Oh, Todd Glass and I used to make fun of this comic because he used to end up his show. He goes, now what, he's a nice guy, but what style do you want? Blues, country, bub, and then he'd have 12 words. Bird, foot, hamburger. And then he would just do these things, with the hamburger, and people would go nuts.
Oh, God, I'm kind of like loving it. Like as much as it's cringy to do that stuff, I'll have a beer and sit and relax and watch something like that. Like what? I'm not above it. It's kind of relaxing in a way.
I am. I've
Yeah, he's lost it.
I've always been like, I'm the guy who.
You're a snob.
A snob, I guess.
I think I am too.
guess
Like
that's the
it
word.
just depends on the environment. Like if I'm at home, I'm not watching that.
Right.
But if I'm, again, I don't know why I keep saying a beer. I don't even really drink beer. But if I'm out, I always say that about certain things. Like if I'm in the mood to just,
I
numb out?
have an ugly a characteristic of not being able to give it up for the group.
Well,
I can't give it up to become part of the group. And I've always been that way.
Yeah, I see that, or I relate to that. I think I can do that though, but I don't think of what I'm talking about is being part of a group experience. But sometimes I'm like, I don't mind this ridiculous thing.
Yeah, no, and I might have a moment of weakness, but if there's someone leading people dancing, like
right,
that's that's kryptonite to me.
Yeah, I think I agree. You're turning me around now where I'm going, no, I agree, because now I'm sitting there in my head watching this show. And I'm going, oh, is that what you people think is funny?
Yeah.
No wonder.
I can bring so much scorn to the table.
Yeah, no, you're right. I don't know. I think I'm not even trying to.
Well, and I'm not trying to like deflate your actual. The thing I'm saying. Shred of light.
I
That's
never
still within
actually
you.
do.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
You're saying in your head you're the person who can enjoy it.
In my head, I'm that
really
person.
don't.
But when you start describing, I go, I think I'm more like you.
I just realized there's a lot of these people who I could make laugh sometimes, but they're the kind of people who they really decide after every joke whether they're going to laugh.
I hate joke per joke basis.
And that look where they decide, oh, it is a joke, and they give it up a little bit.
I don't like. Do you know what your funniest routine is? And I don't know if you're still doing it, but I think you could continue to do it and do even more to where it's like utterly relentless.
Let me guess. I'm not doing that well. That whole angle?
It's the most subversive, brilliant thing to the point where I'm like jealous that I didn't think of it, but I think it's only funny coming from you is men and women are different, huh? Like women go to the bathroom in groups, men are domestically violent. Like
yes, I know that bit that you do. I go, and men, they're sometimes verbally abusive, and they're verbally abusive. There's a good chance they could be physically abusive. And the first time it happens, you go, am I in a play with Marlon Brando? But no, it's not a play. And if you don't get help, you could end up in a shelter.
Yes, but you had a really good
one. Because guys and girls are crazy.
You know, women, their hair, but you had one funny one about women go to the bathroom in groups and men harass women, and that's why they feel they have to be in a group together.
Oh, I forgot that.
Oh, it was so good.
That's why they went together with the groups.
Oh, God, it's so good. And that's a joke. If I don't see everyone laughing, dead to me. If there's a male comic not laughing, fuck you. That's a fucking brilliant joke.
I will make one point.
And it's important.
I will make one point.
He will never not do that joke again.
Okay, good.
I'm sure you know.
I will make one point though. I when it doesn't really get a laugh, sometimes
it's a limb.
Literally,
it's a limb.
It's literally that they can't remember that being a bit. The difference between men and women. They don't remember.
Oh, really? You think that's what
I
it
think
is?
sometimes.
He runs into that for sure.
I definitely
people
do.
Don't know the hack.
But even if
people
they
don't know what he's.
They should be able to pick it up.
Yeah, they should be. I mean, I'm not saying I love it because it's. Oh, it probably is just ingrained in me. You're right. That is why I love it because it's a hack. But I feel like, God damn, really, I have no perspective.
Like airline food will always get you people in the mind of hack comedy now.
Yes.
If you say something like that.
Okay.
Like that's still evergreen, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
But I don't know if the 80s, 90s.
You leave the seat, but women leave the seat up, and then men you have to get a restraining order.
Oh my God, what was that weird asthma? Oh, I've been having asthma.
I have that too sometimes.
Yeah. But I don't smoke anything.
I know you're but now I heard you drink occasionally.
I've always drank.
You drinking you like?
Huh?
Drinking you enjoy?
Yeah, not. I get hungover.
I think she's fucked up, Josh.
I get hungover so easily that I can't enjoy it too much, and I only like wine. I'm kind of like a wine snob.
Yeah, I can see that.
But no, I'm not. I mean, I do like the gummies and all that.
Oh,
but
now do you do enjoy pot? Not too much, huh?
I used to be more of like a pothead. Like, here's the deal: I can't smoke anymore because I've got too much asthma and vocal problems.
Right.
What I like is a good old fashioned joint. There's something about taking a hit of a joint that's like having 2 sips of wine. I know exactly how it's going to hit. Right. These gummies, it takes 2 hours. I don't know what's happening.
It could be too much.
It doesn't even feel good. Like I'm not feeling social. It doesn't do anything like drinking does. And it takes too long. And then I get hungry and it doesn't do anything for me. Right. People go, try this. I've experimented way too much in the last few years. Like as though it's like a side science. Like I don't care.
Like on new different drugs or?
Well, no,
just
but
like
think
on,
about
gummies,
if you knew exactly, like, 1 gummy and a half gets me exactly where I want to be every time. Then
each time the feeling's different and it's normal. It just like doesn't do anything. And then it's a whole.
It seems like it
vaping.
should be simple. I mean, as we know that the edibles just don't work for me. But
Does not work.
I'm
but
the
I've
same
tried
thing.
so many times.
Yeah, they
I
don't
like
work for me either. They just make me feel a little like faded. I'm like, oh, I could just take a Benadryl and feel tired if I wanted to. Like, it doesn't really relax me per se, and it doesn't.
I mean,
make me feel,
I like generally don't feel effects of it.
Yeah, I have that too. Where I had that with smoking pot. Like, I liked the smell and that burning sensation, but I actually never would get high.
Yeah.
The only thing I would get is I'd go, I don't think I'm high, like, which I guess is a form of being high. But I would just be like, I don't think and I would just start washing dishes. Like, there was just a
Yes.
whole,
Right.
just I would do everyone's dishes.
How about, but no acid or anything like that.
Oh God, no. My brain cannot handle that.
I
It's
can
not
see
good
that.
for my brain.
Yeah. It's not good for any of us now. We're past the age.
I've never tried cocaine because I'm from the Len Bias generation. When they were
And
like,
from Boston.
yeah, they're like, he died, he tried it once. I'm like, I'll never do that.
Yeah.
Never did anything.
That was that remains one of the saddest events. Not like John Lennon, because, I mean, John Lennon was my whole life.
Well, no, that's,
No, I'm going to tell you something. You know how
You
your
don't
mother
have to
said,
feel that way, yeah.
you know how your mother said that? My mother, this is like was one of my jokes for years, but my mother actually said this because I was crushed when John Lennon died. It was like at the worst time of my life, and I was feeling, and then 6 months later, my mom says to my sister, is Andy okay about Harry Chapin?
Harry Chapin.
Liz Winstead for years did the bit of, they shot Jack Lemmon.
Why is that so funny? It's so funny.
But
Both
she
of them.
couldn't get the difference between, but yeah, it was really, because that was just a terrible thing, and the 80s were terrible.
It was awful.
Reagan came in right after that.
You know, my mom just recently, you know that Netflix documentary Above Us Only Sky?
No.
What? You would love it. It's about John and Yoko.
Oh, I've heard it's really great.
It's amazing. And I say this, I'm as much of a Beatles and John fanatic as you, and I love Yoko too. Just a little bit of a fluff piece, like
Right.
pretty much 100%.
Yeah.
But my mom was always one of those, like, she loves the Beatles. And John, I mean, when she talks about him, I'm like, okay. Like, so she gets this look on her face that's like,
Right.
her sexy look.
Like you
Do
don't
know
need
what I
it.
mean?
Yeah.
And Mom used to masturbate too. It's like, yeah.
Oh my God, I never thought of it that way, you freak. But now that's all I'm going to think about.
Like tears of endearment. What was that? The terms of endearment?
Tears of endearment
Tears-
about women
where-
masturbating.
When Stefan, and that's not her name, Shirley MacLaine is trying to tell Deborah Winger about what great sex she had.
Oh, do you know, I guess I never
it's
saw
a
the
really
movie.
great.
It's a
I
great
think it's a
movie.
great movie.
It's a great
and,
movie.
and it
Or if
makes
I
her
did, I
so
don't remember.
sick. She goes, Shirley MacLaine goes, yeah, it's fucking tastic, and it's like that's the last thing.
Do you know, I guess I don't think I've seen that or the other one that everyone loves.
Mystic Pizza? No.
I don't think I've seen that either. I think it was like Love Story or something.
Steel Magnolias?
Steel Magnolias. Maybe I saw
Love
that.
Story is not a good movie. Steel Magnolias is a pretty good movie.
Maybe that's what it is.
And the other one
No,
we just.
it's
oh no, The Way We
can't be any of
Were.
that.
The Way We Were. That's what I meant to say. I never
The Way
saw
We
that.
Were is good.
No, but Terms of Endearment is way different than that.
Yes.
Terms of Endearment is James L. Brooks.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Shirley MacLaine, Deborah Winger.
It's a little
Jack
more
Nicholson.
neurotic then.
It's funny
And funny. Okay.
and dark and it's like it's a great movie.
Maybe I have seen it. Well, anyway, my mom fucking was one of these like Yoko broke up the Beatles people. Then she saw that movie and she was like, Jennifer, I was wrong about Yoko. She made him who he was. It was all that love stuff was right. And she loved him. And I thought to myself, how can I not love someone that loved the same man I did so much? She loved him. And I was like, that's so nice. Like, you usually don't have a lot of epiphanies at like 80 and
Right.
like change
I'm
your mind about.
reevaluating my entire worldview.
That's exactly what she's doing. But that movie was so great because there's this one scene where this Vietnam vet like shows up to John and Yoko's cottage in the middle of the.
Oh, I've seen that before from Imagine.
Yeah.
Where he thinks
Yeah, it
they're
was
communicating with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, but
Oh, that
are you
was
sure that
amazing.
wasn't about me? And John's like, no, man, it was, it's just a song about whatever,
Right.
But I mean, this is shallow, but that Vietnam vet is so fucking hot. He's like people talk
right,
about
right.
Brad Pitt and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This guy is 10 times as gorgeous. Like, how is he not just like a model? Like,
He was now that you say it, he
yeah,
was
that
like the
dude
dreamy
was
drifter. Yeah.
dreamy. Anyway, I'm just saying,
I
even back
love
then,
that
the
scene.
Vietnam vets were hotter than our soldiers now.
That's right.
It's like
Without the
We
tattoos.
saw Coming Home, right? Very attractive men.
No, I didn't see that either. I
You've
feel
seen
like
that one, of course, right?
I've seen a lot of movies, and I feel like I'm not making the case that I've seen movies.
No, there's a lot of movies.
That's true.
There's just a lot of movies.
Just stop everything and watch Brian Piccolo.
So I want to ask before we why were you punching me in the head like that? Why would
he
you
just
punch me
stuck
in the
his
head?
finger in your
I felt bad.
You guys, if I ruined this episode, I feel like I've talked so much.
No, I'm excited.
He hates me and I can't help
I'm
it.
super excited about this episode. I want to ask about your love or dislove of TV writing.
Ooh, that's a good
Because
one.
it's a love-hate thing with me.
It's a love-hate thing with me. I love, I stupidly quit my job on Mrs. Maisel because Andy didn't like the show.
Can you imagine?
No, I did, but it was just because it was in New York and I didn't live there, and it was so much back and forth, and it was just like a lot of money being.
Because you had to go there to White.
10 months a year, I had to kind of stay there, but it was like,
but
it wasn't all in a row, and I had Airbnbs. Like, I said, third season, if I go back, I'm just going to get an apartment there, but I rent here, rent there. I mean, it would be losing a lot of money. So I was like, I think I'm just going to take the leap and not go back, whatever. Kind of a mistake. So I didn't get work this year until the last few weeks of the year, and I'm on a job now until March. But so right now I'm in the haze of loving because I'm so desperate for money. But in general, after I've been somewhere a while, I hate it. And I'm exhausted from sitting there all day, and I overeat at work, and I sometimes the performer me is always like, get out of here, and I don't want to be in the room, and I should be out there, and it's like a constant struggle. But because I keep quitting jobs and going on the road and then coming back, I kind of stay at the same level. And for people listening, it's literally, I just mean union wise,
right.
I don't get
you keep going back at the same thing.
I kind of keep going back at the same thing. So I don't always have to be responsible for a script,
right.
But I do my own writing, and I've sold a few pilot pitches, and then I have to write a script. And that is the real love hate. Yeah. I'm really good at someone else's room, and I come in and I was always really good team player.
I was I would think, I know I would maybe learn it, but it frightens me to come up with jokes in front of people. It's
scary, but
not for you,
it's
right?
not once you get there. It's almost like this, you're just riffing and having fun, and if everyone's failing and winning all equally all day long. It's a beautiful feeling. But when I'm alone and I've sold something and I have to write, the self-hatred and the anxiety, and then the other side of it where it's then you get a note and you're like, fuck you don't know what you're talking about. I don't say that, but
sure.
It's a love-hate. But I think you have skills that I don't have. I don't know story and structure that well.
Yeah.
When I pitch stuff, I've been lucky enough to when I'm writing pilots, I'll have a producer I'm working with that kind of helps me. So I'll be blah, blah, blah. And they're right, that's the plot, but I'm talking about the story. And I'm I don't know the fucking difference. And it's never going to get in my head, ever, as long as I live. I'm with dialogue and characters. That's it. But I feel you, from listening, know what you're doing. Well, so I'm almost.
If I can transmit that vibe, then I think I'm doing okay.
I'm too ignorant to have such a love-hate, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what I'm doing. So it's kind of blissful.
But there's also.
That's good, though.
There's difficulties though too, because sometimes there is no story, and some people don't write stories. The story is the emotional character.
Well, that's what I wish it was.
But it's the hard part. It's the hard part about writing TV is story. I mean, if you're funny, jokes come fairly easily.
Right.
But story and character are what you have to put in there first.
And people don't always need that. But the fact that you went on Freaks and Geeks, my favorite. Oh my God. I mean, that show. I didn't see it when it was on, but then I rented it. Whatever. I got it on DVD maybe early 2002. I bought it and I just binged it before binging. I watched it all in a day or 2 days or whatever. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
It was fun to do. I mean, and I'm sure you've had this feeling too, or where that what you're working on is good,
No.
Did you not feel that on Maisel?
No, I guess I did. The only thing I had was the first week there, because Trump had just been inaugurated.
Yeah.
And I could just hear like Twitter in my head, and I could hear people going, why do we need a show about like rich white people in the 50s? Like, people were not into fantasy just yet.
Right.
By the time it aired in December, people were ready for fantasy.
Right.
But when we were sitting there, it was like everyone was like going to the airports to block his immigration bans. Like, nobody was sitting around
Yeah,
like,
it
let's
seemed
escape.
I like something frivolous right now.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, we're all going to get it. Like, I'm going to get in trouble. Like, everyone's going to be mad. And then once it aired, everyone was like, what a great escape. And I was like, oh, we're doing that? Oh, good. Okay. And then I was fine. Then I was less self-conscious about it. But I knew it was. But I wasn't like, oh, I'm good. I was like, these people made a great thing.
Right.
I'm just sitting around on it.
Yeah, I have a more developed ego than you, I think.
100%. I never think. Now, I know comics probably don't like Chelsea lately, but I knew people watching it liked it. And I felt proud of my work on that because I feel like we all added things. I feel like I helped when I could steer things from a first thought theater place. Right. If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So I was proud of my work on that.
That's cool. Yeah.
Even though it's not Freaks and Geeks, but I've wanted to do a show about the 90s. Like, I pitched one this year, but people are like, no one cares. But like, specifically 90 to 94, like Bush out, Clinton in, Kurt Cobain. Then I want the last episode to be when he kills himself. Like, just about the grunge kids specifically.
Yeah.
But I feel like everyone's like, yeah, we did Freaks and Geeks. I'm like, it's not Freaks and Geeks, but it everything basically. Like, you guys have ruined that era and no one can do it in a good way.
But Freaks and Geeks is 10 years earlier than that. Freaks and Geeks was 1980.
Isn't it weird whenever I do talk about the 90s, people say Freaks and Geeks, but that's because it was when it was out?
Yeah. It came out in 99, 2000.
I think people still equate it with the 90s.
But it was about 1980.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Is it about
so
people
good.
like my age?
It's more your age.
Yeah.
You know.
And I related I was like the Sam Levine character. Like,
me too.
Yeah, like I was just like, like a little, well, because I probably was his age in 80. No, I was 6 in 1980. But like, I was like watching stuff that my parents enjoyed and bringing that old school comedy vibe to school, and other people were like were more like Lindsay. It was like I was a Sam and my friends and my peers were all Lindsay's, where they're like, I like the Dead or whatever. And I was like, or not the Dead, but you know what I mean? Like,
sure.
And I'd be like, what about Groucho Marx? And people are like, what?
Yeah, I was definitely in the geeks. You know? But that was like, you know.
Oh, wait.
I graduated.
I was not a geek. Just in case anyone's listening.
Well,
Thank
if you were Sam Levine, you were.
Yeah, weirdly though I wasn't. Does that make sense?
No.
I was like, there
Because
weren't.
I'm only talking in terms of the show. I'm not calling you a geek. I'm just
No,
saying,
I know.
as opposed to the freaks.
Yes, but then in high school, we were actually called freaks. My group of friends.
Yeah.
We wore all black, and people would write "freaks die" on the wall.
Well, I think it would depend
But
on
you were
how.
goth, yes? No?
No, just weird.
Okay.
Like wore all black, but not gothy, and like more grunge Nirvana, and then
Morrissey black.
Yeah, but that was more like Robert Smith from The Cure always wore like.
So emo is kind of what they call it now.
No, it was like post-punk, like Ramones. Like it was like punk, maybe new wave, but like very eclectic. Like I might wear like big platform shoes like Crispin Glover. Like I was all over the place. Okay. It was like a little D-Light,
There's some thrift store. There's
some thrift store.
The groove is in your heart.
A little bit of like weird, like there was a whole thing with like throwback to like 1940s glamour. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like
swingers,
little Betty Page.
Yeah, there was like little stuff like that. And then like there was an episode of Beverly Hills 90210 where Brenda did an open mic, and that was what I aspired to. That
was everything coming together for you, kind of.
I wish I could see this episode again. It was this episode where she was house sitting for this woman that was like the quintessential like 90s coffee shop person. Like she worked at it, and then at night she would perform, but just like tell stories. It was like very like pre-Uncabaret. This was like 96, 5, I think.
Yeah.
And Brenda was like, I'm going to do that. And then she stayed at this woman's apartment, which now would be like my worst nightmare. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're all grown up, but like you have crappy furniture. Like, you know what I mean? Like those tables that are round with the legs you screw in and then you throw like a drape over them. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like it's like shit, like particle board furniture with like drapes on it. Like it was like all that kind of furniture and like this middle-aged woman's apartment, and Brenda was like, "This is really living," and I was like, "That is," and now I'd be like, "Kill me." Anyway, long story.
What year? So that year, but that's
Shabby
when
chic, would we call
Shabby
that?
chic, but like worse.
But that's when the alternative scene was going on, though. 95. So it's like they probably,
must have copied it.
Yeah, they must have seen.
They must have seen you, because she kept going, "Am I right, people?"
That's right.
Wow, that's eerie.
Yeah, and she'd go, "I'm Jewish." And she just would say
And
that.
the third thing.
And a third thing, she would say that. Don't just edit that out so I don't say anti-Semitic.
Don't say that. No, but I just had to look like I don't want to keep you too late because you have a life.
Why? What time is it?
No, we don't even have to do a break this show.
Why don't
We don't
you?
have to do letters, right?
Huh? Because we just did 2 hours.
We did 2 hours.
Oh, we did 2 hours already?
So great.
Wait, can I do one thing?
Do what you can do as
9
as long as you.
things,
You
yes.
could go.
We
we're
don't
not
want to
the
keep
ones.
you. It's you can stay.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Can we do? Wait, I want to do letters. I want it to be like a normal episode.
All right.
All right.
All right. We'll bring you.
Would you do letters without me though? Is that what you're saying?
What he was saying was that
They weren't gonna
if
do it
we
at all.
wanted to, if you wanted to stay,
We were
you-
like, here was our strategy. We didn't put your name in the letters because we didn't want to obligate you to stay for life.
see.
then do letters without me so they can have a little you time.
Oh, that's not.
No, that wasn't
we
my
don't
point.
Care about that.
No, I know, but
my point
I
was
said
is I wasn't going to even do letters this week.
So what you're saying is we don't even need it now.
Oh, I see.
'Cause
Okay,
we-
I'm
got it.
saying we save these questions for next week.
I just don't want to upset anyone.
We
That's like
bank
it's
'em.
different than.
It's different. It's our spiral.
Because remember when that episode when you guys were talking about your friend James Mason, James Madison, Joel Marshall.
Joel Madison. My friend Joel Madison, yes. I'm quite aware.
Bobby.
Oh, I think we can make a friend here if we just do some of our greatest
I'm
hits.
inside the podcast. Well, you were saying-
Please Don't Start Thing with our celebrity guest, Jack Cookman.
he's good. I thought I was talking too loud earlier, but that one really hit the roof.
His wife is so angry, mostly at me.
Is that true?
No.
Wait, what was I going to ask? So you had said on one episode, like he wants to be a guest, and then one of you said he thinks he's a format breaker, and you're like, yeah, he's not going to be. And I ended up being a format breaker.
No, Josh Mankiewicz. Josh Mankiewicz was the first guest.
Was he the
That
one
made
that,
it to air.
the one that he did like the murder shows?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I got scared. I had to fast forward a little through it. Don't get mad.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like anything murder.
I really want you. Here's the thing. I am so scared of people.
She's clutching her face just
If
for
you
saying murder.
if you end up,
But you
like-
talk about Holocaust
If
and
you
Nazis.
can't listen to one more show,
That's
please,
different.
that'd be fine. I know exactly the feeling, and because I know, like, I don't want anybody to ever feel. But what'd you think of show 112?
Well, wait, okay.
Who's Parush?
Well, he's in India right now, isn't he?
Ah, see, she's good.
Oh no, I listen. I know that Michelle Weiscarver.
the greatest.
Now I've just projected an entire life onto her.
Yeah.
She seems like the nicest, most genuine person
She's a delight.
on the earth.
Yes, and every interaction I've had with her has
Have
been.
you met her in real life?
I have not yet.
Oh, okay. What is she? What's her life?
thought she's
What's her
a-
story?
Well, I think she comes to our show through Mystery Science Theater fandom. So
Okay.
So she talks to lots of people who I see online. But
Got it.
She lives in Ohio.
Can you give me your exact
blow your
address?
cover.
I'm going state only.
What's her job? Do we know?
I
I
don't know her job.
feel like she does something that helps
I thought
people.
she was. I always thought she was doing something creative, but I don't know.
God, I love it. I mean, I
Let
don't
us
mean
know
to,
next week, Michelle.
I don't mean to single her out, and everyone's going to go, "Do you like me?" I
Well, you
really
were saying
worry
how
the
you hate
listeners don't
Yoshi
like me.
Yamamoto, though. You were saying you
Oh,
just
I can't stand him. But
Oh,
we
no,
have a personal thing going back a long time. A long time. I mean,
For
don't
real,
even get
though?
me started. No,
No,
I'm never,
you got
I
me
don't-
going. You're acting.
Yoshi
You're
Yamamoto.
doing the acting. Yoshi Yamamoto.
Oh, I was even going to make up a song for him, but I couldn't think of one. Shit. All right, this is what I want to do.
Here's the words. Yoshi Yamamoto. Go.
You've done it to
every
the
tune.
tune of Amadeus, right?
Yamamoto.
Yamamoto. You must have, right?
Yoshi Yamamoto.
We did the Klobuchar's in town.
That's fucking hilarious. How has she not done that as her campaign? 'Cause she's not going to win, even though she was endorsed. Don't turn around.
The Klobuchar's in town.
Or if she was elected, that's the
That'll be your play-on music.
The theme, yeah, her play when she's played on. Okay, wait.
Don't forget. You have a great memory to get back to the story. I can never do that.
Well,
She's lost it now, however.
no. Oh, okay. I know I'm going to ruin this for everybody. I'm ruining a joke that Andy's even in on.
Okay.
And he does not need this explained. But I scream at my radio every week, and I listen to you guys on a radio 65 degrees.
65 degrees.
65 degrees.
Zuzu is his daughter, not the one playing the piano.
Suzu, stop playing this stupid piano. You're the worst piano player. Suzu, I'm going to hit the piano over your head.
She's seminal because she has a cold and she's in bed, and the teacher calls and he yells at the teacher because he's about to kill himself. And he's like, she didn't wear a coat and you let her run around like this. You're getting sick. What kind of teacher are you? And he goes upstairs to say goodnight to Zuzu, and she's like, I have a flower, Daddy. And it's thirsty. Yeah. Give it a drink. She's like, the petals fell off. Paste it, Daddy. And he takes her rose petals and pretends to paste them, and he turns around and puts them in his pocket.
Right.
So now when he tries to kill himself, he's got the petals in his pocket. And then when he becomes the George that never existed, he puts his hand in the pocket and the petals aren't there. And when he comes, in quotes, back to life, he puts his hand in his pocket.
May I?
Zuzu's.
Yeah.
Zuzu's pedals! Zuzu's pedals!
That's how he knows he's been born. So it's like, it's a big deal.
And then she goes, they say every time a thing happens.
My mouth's bleeding, Bert! My mouth's bleeding!
Bert! Every time a third thing.
You said I was an old man.
Every time a bell rings, a third thing happens.
And he goes, yes. Jimmy Stewart has to act overact. That's right.
Don't you dare make fun of him.
I love him. I love Jimmy Stewart.
Okay, now I want to do my impression.
Every time a bell rings, Andy Kindler says a third thing.
That could also be embroidered on something.
Yes, that's right.
That's right.
Okay, I tried to memorize it. I was listening to it all day, but I can't.
Oh, I know what's going to be too. He's Australian.
No, it's the early speech.
But
They look like.
they look like
How about it, George? How about it, George? $20,000 a year, George.
Wait a minute. What are you saying? All these people that you're talking about, this rabble that do all the living and the dying in this town. Is it too much to ask that they do the living and the dying with 2 baths and a decent home? My father didn't think so. My father wasn't the greatest businessman, I'll tell you that. Hang on, let me get into the. I guess what is it? Wait 4 years to save for what? For what? Well, God, I had it earlier. It's not terrible.
No, it's good.
If I was a man, it would sound better because I would have a man's voice.
It's him.
No, I don't feel pressure.
But he's Mr. He's Mr.
No, he's not.
He's like Frank Gorshin. Oh, you know it's him. You don't want to say it's him.
He's doing my mother. I don't think that Josh is holding me up to his standard.
Right, but he's keeping me down.
No, he's not
I can't
judging.
do the
He's
baby
being
voice.
I can't do the baby
That freaks me out so much. Because you almost seem like satanic.
I know, that's right. Some people get freaked out by it.
Yeah, it's the only one that I go, that's coming from.
It's very polarizing.
I like it. I like the sound of it, but I go, that's coming from like, almost like a Satan, like taking over your body. Like if I came home, if I was married to you and I came home and you were sitting in the dark doing that, I would run and never talk to you again. I wouldn't even care. We had 20 great years, kids. I'd be like, he's insane. I would run.
Otherwise, that's the only thing?
No,
I can
I have to go
make
to my
other
house tonight and
things.
think of
I don't
that.
see you as a couple at all, regardless of that.
Well, yeah, obviously, but I'm saying.
Hey.
Look,
The point of the bit isn't like otherwise we're perfectly matched. I'm just saying that like how.
She's saying it's a deal breaker.
I'm saying roommates, whatever it is, I would never just laugh it off. I would go, you're insane, I'm leaving. Can I do one more? Okay. Why do I have to have all these kids? Mary. Okay, hang on. This is wait.
Mary.
Should I pray for Daddy too? Yes, pray real hard. These aren't good impressions, but I don't know. I like to say
You too.
You too, Tommy.
That's it. That's what I was trying to think of. God, I know every word, but I can't remember.
You stupid old fart.
Excuse me. I hate that one.
Excuse me.
I burped. Why is that in the movie? It like ruins it for me.
Get away from me. I didn't kill a man. I didn't switch the poison.
Why, you disgusting little piece of shit. Why can't you keep your gas inside like a normal human being? I hate this house and I hate all you kids.
I hate this fucking banister.
Now, what I'm confused about in that movie,
Yes.
Hee Haw and all those people giving
Hee-haw.
money from overseas.
Right.
Yeah. buddies from the army.
But he makes more money than he even lost. And so the bank is going to be at a,
I don't know. We don't know that. Because he might it could be like a crooked GoFundMe.
Because I want to just say one thing.
And Potter keeps the money.
Can Mary, like, I mean, I know it's not all up to her. You know, both of them need to be responsible for birth control. But can they just, like, stop having kids and let the guy go around the world? Like, can he have his dream can he go anywhere?
Right.
But then maybe maybe he's one of those big talkers that like actually doesn't really want to go, or else he would have.
Yeah,
one day I'm going to run out of baby powder and I'm going to see the world.
He was going to be like an architect.
Oh, that's right.
But at the end of the day, like if you look at it in a different perspective, he just sounds like a big talking alcoholic who's never going to do anything.
Right. He's never getting out of that goddamn town. He's lucky to have it.
He bought a big suitcase and all. He was ready to go. But Tommy.
George Bailey, I love you to the day I die. Is this your ear? You can't hear him. We need to do this as a three-person
Don't have my
play.
Sawyer again, Mr. Cohen. Don't have my Sawyer. I know you messed up and you killed someone, but you put something bad in the medicine. I didn't. Shut up, you young. I did not kill that. I never killed the
Thank you, George.
Oh, thank you, son. Thank you, son. I always keep the poison next to the other drugs.
Why was there a poison?
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
Is it for rats?
Well,
It's for non-payment clients.
They were just a jar with a skull. Anyway, I just always wanted to. But wait, you were supposed to do it back to me. No.
What was I doing back to you?
You once called me a
warped, frustrated old man. What are you but a warped, frustrated young man?
And then what does he say?
Miserable little clerk crawling on your hands and knees with nothing but a $500 life insurance equity and a life insurance policy. You're worth more dead than alive.
I guess he doesn't say anything to that, does he? He just kind of goes to the bar.
Because the warped, frustrated old man happened scenes earlier.
Oh, that's right. And then he just goes to the bar and goes, God,
you're nothing but a warped, frustrated old man.
I'm not a praying man, God.
Goddamn monkeys, you blew it, you monkeys.
Is this
the Statue of Liberty at the end of the...
All right. I've never seen that.
That's another reason for me not to like you two. You're half man, half monkey. Out you two monkeys go. Through the door, out the window.
God, you sound so much like him. It's crazy. Was that a homophobic moment?
I don't know you from Adam's off ox.
You two fairies, get out of here.
Out you two pixies go.
That was homophobic? You know what my favorite part is when they get kicked out and that guy's hitting the cash register and singing goes, look, I'm making wings.
Get me. I'm giving out wings.
I'm giving out wings.
What a bunch of bullies.
Get me. I'm giving out wings.
That movie is so good. I burst out sobbing like uncontrollable from the minute it starts.
Really?
And then it subsides for a while. And then at the end, it's like, I sit and watch it with my family. I'm like, don't cry, don't cry. And then it's,
my mouse bleeding, Bert.
And then I just sit there with tears and my family's like,
Merry Christmas, you old building alone.
They're like, how long are you going to cry? I'm like, 45 more minutes, but I just sit there tearing and then we keep talking and then they just have to accept that I'm going to be bawling for like an hour. Yeah.
But you don't watch them anymore. That's my big gripe now. I'm not watching any of the movies that I expect to bring back Christmas to.
I watch it twice a year. Sometimes 3. I'll watch it in the summer. I don't give a shit. I think it's the greatest acting job ever done.
I dare you to watch the Hallmark movies.
I watch all 42. I sold one. I'm writing one right now.
Is it the woman entrepreneur? She goes out for the weekend and she meets. You're writing those. Oh my God. That's great.
This is what's so.
I love it.
My manager's former assistant got a job at Hallmark in development. And she was like, just get Jen a meeting when you go over there. And I pitched them an idea. It works very much like a sitcom pitch in a way. Like it's not like you pitch them an idea, then they go, okay, we'll pay you to write an outline. And then if they approve the outline, then you get paid to write a script. But it's all like very
step deals, as they call them.
Yeah. So now I didn't think they would. They're like, okay, go to script. And I was like, I thought they were going to have someone rewrite it. They still could. Yeah. And it doesn't mean it's going to get made at all. But
you're gonna get
I literally was just doing that before I drove over here, and it's due in March, and I'm not.
It's Christmas, right?
But it's like,
don't tell us.
No, I won't. But I watch. But it became like I've been watching these before. It was cool for like since 10 years ago. I watch all. I'm Hallmark only
movies. I love them, but I can't watch those because it's the wrong generation for me or something.
Well, I also think like I guess I was watching them ironically. Now I just don't know anymore and I can't stop. But I watch like all 30 every year. I mean, it's a lot. It doesn't even make me happy anymore. I just can't stop.
But have you decided? Do you have an idea in your head of what makes one good, so that you've applied that to yours now?
No.
Like, are you writing one that you would like?
Yeah, I think I would like this.
Okay.
Yeah. It's about a writer and the last chapter of her book, because of what's happening in her life, it's not working out, and it's at Christmas.
Editor is Santa Claus?
No, but her editor's like, it's a whole thing. But it's like she's with the wrong guy. She falls in love with the right guy that she's always been in love with, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. But I like those movies where it's like, I'm a business, but okay, even though there's like not a lot of diversity in those movies, I do find them oddly feminist, because it's like the woman's a businesswoman and then she goes to like the small town and falls in love, but she doesn't give up her job. Like that. It's like
not a savior thing.
No, she ends up just like, I'll do my job, but in this small town. Like I'm still like this big doctor, but I'll do it here. And she'll marry a guy that like he works 4 weeks a year at a Christmas tree farm, probably at minimum wage. So he's making $5,000 a year and he's not emasculated and everybody's happy and it works out great.
Right.
And they never have kids. It's never about, I'm going to get pregnant. It's like not that at all. If anything, he might have a kid already from a widowed thing, but it's very like, one of my favorite ones was this woman went back in time and had the chance to say yes to a proposal from her college boyfriend. But he was running a bookstore and no one was buying books. And it was pre-internet, but she's from, the future. So she tells him, she like basically invents Amazon.com, like goes back in time, steals the idea, they get rich and they move back to the city and they don't have kids and they're like super rich. And I'm like, that's a great movie. Right. So, there's some of them are kind of cool. But you have to watch them all to find out if there's any that's cool. But, what else am I doing? That's what I do during the holidays, is I watch them. And I get up early in the morning and I watch them with my coffee.
No, I'm all over it.
Any holiday movie is about manipulative sentiment.
And I feel nothing watching them. I'm not even manipulated at all. I'm just like, I'm watching it to scream like there's nothing in that coffee cup. And like they always have like jackets open, no hat, no scarf, no gloves.
Is there no continuity? Is the continuity bad?
That, but also just like they want people to look cute so they don't put hats on them. And they're like, it's New York on December 24th. And people are like outside without gloves on and it's snowing. I'm like, come on.
And these guys are so hunky and yet so sensitive and vulnerable. That's the thing. It's always amazing.
I don't find them. Well, you gotta watch them more clearly. They're always like dicks secretly. There's always like they try to do that 1940s like pitter patter, but it doesn't come off right, and it just comes off like he's like negging someone, like you suck at that, and she's like, no, I don't, and then they fall in love, and I'm like, I don't understand why they're together. I'm putting them down. Edit this out.
Going over things.
It's me, not that cute. Kind
exactly.
Of. Yeah.
I'm going to get fired.
No,
don't anyone think I'm rich because of this.
Out.
It's not.
What would be so bad if someone thought you were rich?
Because any political opinion I have would be about, you're trying to protect your money. I'm like, again,
you deserve whatever you've gotten. I always feel bad.
I don't have anything.
I always feel bad for Eddie Pepitone because he hates doing commercials so much, but he could use the money, Eddie Pepitone.
You feel bad for him?
No, I feel bad for him because I think if I had stricter rules, I would have not made a living on certain things. In other words, like, I don't think doing a commercial is like the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, I don't either.
You think it's a wonderful thing, actually.
But you feel bad for him that he has a very limited view.
That he's so strongly, because he's not like he's rich.
Right.
So
you and your stupid integrity, Pepitone. Hope you enjoy it.
I love him. But I think at a certain point with people that get upset about that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know where integrity and pathology intersect and don't. I'm just saying.
Well, even with me, I mean, that's what I've learned from doing this podcast and everything is like all my thing, like I was self-sabotaging sometimes.
Yeah. Like even I love Bill Hicks, but like he did die before he maybe got old enough to come to anything like that. Like his like, if you work in advertising, kill yourself. Like really? Like I get it, but like also come on. But also I get it. He's right. But also come on. Do you know what I mean?
But it really
but I mean,
but you were his friend. Sorry.
I was, and I'm not defending him so much as interpreting what I think of, I think he was doing comedy. I mean, I think he had strong opinions. And I do think that last year of stuff he was doing, because he was dying, he was being sort of extra.
Oh, God, that's a good idea.
Extra preachy.
But that's a good point is like filtered through the sands of time, certain things except for the year that he was preachy, can sound way too serious.
Yeah.
When if you are there, he's just being silly, like in the same way that he talked about Billy Ray Cyrus, which is very frivolous.
Yeah, he was being staunch.
It's on the same level.
Yeah.
God, that's funny. So I'm just interpreting it from like an outsider's, like years later point of view.
No, he was really, I think the funny to him was taking the most extreme viewpoint and sticking with it.
See, and that's what I think gets misinterpreted by newer generations
And you had to,
using him like that.
And he's someone you really.
I'm glad we
had
talked
to
about
see
this.
I had to see live.
Yeah.
But he used to do a bit about how Jade Hinckley tried to shoot Reagan because of Jodie Foster.
Right.
And so he was like, I don't get that, but Phoebe Cates. And then he goes through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I could never do a bit like that, but he was truly like.
I think I remember that bit.
Yeah,
I know
I
it
love
from
that
something.
bit.
His
Yeah.
book is so good. Love All the People. It's like the last book he wrote.
Yeah, I think
never read
he.
it.
Oh my God, you guys.
I have it, but I haven't.
Or maybe he didn't write it, but Cynthia True wrote it about him.
I wrote that. I read that book. Yeah,
You
is
wrote
her.
that?
I didn't write it, but I know that that's Cynthia's book.
Okay, then maybe that's, but it has the whole thing about what happened on Letterman,
Right.
which we all know
and
a million
Dennis
times.
Leary too, and is in there too, right?
Oh, I don't remember. I just remember reading about his spiritual side, which I was like, oh, I like that.
He was spiritual. That's why he
very
cracks me up.
spiritual guy.
All these people think he was an atheist.
Yeah, they're the atheists
But he did that bit about on
co-opted him.
Yeah, but that's me arguing with my father. So
But
I
again,
mean-
that was him, it's easy to co-opt him because of his the comedic staunchness of his viewpoints.
But anyway, yeah, I don't want people to think I'm rich because I'm really not. If I were, I'd be screaming it.
well, you wouldn't be like Ricky Gervais. I'm the
I
richest.
don't know.
person
You're
in the
walking
world.
around in all these fur coats and stuff.
Well, I think I might be doing that, but like as a joke, like Richie Gervais, that I bet would cut him more than anything.
If you got his
you
name
just
wrong?
kept calling him Richie Gervais.
Some people call him Gervais.
That's
That
amazing.
must hurt him a lot because of the French. They do the French pronunciation.
Gervais.
Like my mother can't get his name. That my sister can't get
that
his
must
name.
kill him. And not Andy's mother. But I think the day that my heart broke was the day I realized that he is David Brent.
I know.
I was like,
I was
oh,
a huge
At
fan.
best.
at best.
I loved
I'm
him
still
so
a fan
much. For the original Office
of all the
is so
TV
great.
stuff. Just the the Golden Globes thing, I couldn't do it. But I
He Leno'd, in a different way. But it's like, I mean, there wasn't anyone who I respected more than Leno at a certain point as a young comic, And then
that was like me with Gallagher. I did have a crush on him when I was little.
Did you really? Mm-hmm. Wow.
Because I liked those kind of bell bottom guys.
Yeah.
And I thought
He was confident.
Yeah, and I was 8. I don't have a lot of people that I see, but he.
It wasn't deeply sexual like your mom and John Lennon.
I think it was actually because I had him and Andy Gibb. I just like those 70s guys, and I know he was like on the grosser scale, but he had a joke that I thought was brilliant. Again, I was like 10, but I'm not unconvinced that it's not a great joke.
Shadow dancing, yeah. Sorry.
He was opposite of progress, Congress. Come on, that's a perfect
good.
joke.
There you go.
That
That's
is-
almost a
that-
Kindler.
But you wouldn't be able to say it now because Congress is doing a good thing. Thank you. Don't get me on my soapbox. Impeach. I know you're not into impeachment and you think Trump did the right thing.
I just think
That's what you always say.
I'm pleasantly surprised by how he's doing.
Andy was just saying before that they could wrap this up in 2 days.
Yes.
There's no point.
This is the America I are.
Do you think before I go now, I'm going to go and you can do whatever?
No, we're going to wrap it up
we're
while
wrapping
you're
up
here.
because we would.
Yeah, no, we're
this is
ending.
all we
Sorry.
need.
We aren't going to talk behind your back. You're going to be here.
You're going to be here when we end the show.
That comic on
Why am I
Twitter that keeps saying he wrote or he was on The Apprentice. He's got very few low follower count, but he's been speaking out. And I believe him. He used to work on The Apprentice in some capacity, but now he's a
He's
stand-up.
not putting down
and
Trump.
he's saying Trump.
He was saying like Trump, like
do Adderall.
yeah, would
snorted
like get so
Adderall.
angry and be so high on Adderall that he would shit himself. Like even back then,
I hope it's true.
I think it might be.
Because I know that the woman who worked on Bill Maher admitted that she made up the story.
of him masturbating before every
Masturbating. She
show.
does not masturbate before the show.
Oh, that was it. I never even
but I think
heard
it
about
was so
that.
unpleasant to work with that she made that story.
It was so easily buyable too.
Yeah.
I mean, it was totally.
What was the
buyable.
story that he did it in front of people before
no,
the show?
that
That
he
was-
just had to masturbate
That
before
it was
every
like a
show
scheduled
into a
thing.
towel.
That it was a scheduled thing.
'Cause she
Am I
spread it
crazy
around.
that like I wouldn't even think that was that weird or bad? Does that make sense?
No, I could see that. Well, I'm not going to agree with you.
Well,
That's like an idiot.
if it was like, there's a good way and a bad way, probably.
Yeah, like if I heard, like if it wasn't like he wasn't making it known, but somehow somebody found out and asked him, and he's like, "Yeah, it's my thing. I do." I would be like, "Okay." I mean, everyone relieves tension in some way.
I have a friend whose therapist, he's a comic, whose therapist literally specifically told him to masturbate twice a day for stress reduction.
Oh, there you go. And it's good for the prostate, I heard.
Use it or lose it.
And the thing about Louis was like, he didn't know. He was
very into prostate health.
That's right.
He was brought up in a culture where everybody did that.
Everybody did that. Oh, poor guy. He can't say anything anymore.
All right. It's
Let's
time
go.
to call it.
We can't end on Louis.
No, we can't end on Louis.
Okay.
You have to edit that out. And put
I just
something
want
else
to
in.
say, this was so much fun. I could talk to you all night.
You're,
A Jew.
end on that. You're a Jew.
No, you can finish it, though. It'll add in.
It's different being here because you guys, this whole thing was off because I was here.
It's a different show, but that's not
It's
a
a different
bad
show,
show.
You should say, half the time,
Like he was paying attention and you guys were mad at each other.
But it was coherent. It was that's the trade-off.
this is the first couple of shows it did. He's right? We're in the show and go, where, am I seeing the reflection of the thing out there? Or it's like, and after about 3 or 4 shows, it was like, I just can't take it.
Is this going to ruin your actual, now that you know what the room looks like, is it going to ruin your theater of the mind?
No, nothing could ruin it. One quick thing. The first time I found out about this podcast, you'd already been doing it for a year. I don't know how I didn't know about it. And I found it, I was in Toronto at the festival and I was like, oh my God. And I had like 50 to catch up on and it was the greatest. And then,
You
then
literally
I caught
went
up.
back and did. Wow.
Yeah, I started at 1. I've heard every episode and I swear to God, every Monday, and if I get up to pee at 5 a.m. and I can't sleep, I start it then.
Yes.
It's a hard podcast to fall back asleep to. There's a lot of-
No, you don't
and
want that.
there's a lot of sounds.
Yeah.
But
I'm a loud guy, it turns out.
Kazunga!
it's that one. It's like
Second hour is loud me.
It's like-
First hour is loud Andy.
I used to try to fall asleep to This American Life. I can't even listen to that show anymore. I'd be like, hourglass, like, nah, nah, nah. And then they'd be like, take you to a marketplace, and it's like, zing, zong, blang, 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 like pots and pans music. Anyway, this
You
was a
gotta take
delight.
time off because that show still is great, but you have to take a lot of time off before you listen to it again.
I have to go back and just find the episodes I want to listen to.
That's what I do. Yeah, American Life. And
What is up with this?
There's something we can't end it. The thing is, right now, none of us can end it because we're
But he
all
always
Jew.
edited it.